Dreams can become realities. Today, hundreds of NFL hopefuls get a chance to impress pro scouts. These were players who shined on Saturday. Now, they get their shot at Sunday. The NFLPA Collegiate Bowl is next. Welcome to the StubHub Center in Carson, California. It is the 4th annual NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Team National against Team American, but in a game like this, it's not about the names of the teams, it's about the players looking to make a name for themselves. Good afternoon from Southern California and East Shroff, joined by Todd McShay from Scouts Inc., former Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy. As we get ready for the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, this is a true showcase for some of these players hoping to get drafted, hoping to catch on to a roster.
It's a huge opportunity, and we've had a chance to be here all week in Niche, watching these guys, seeing their improvement. Who can put it all together on game day? Because in the end of the day, it's not about running the 40. It's not about how tall you are, how big you are, how fast you run, all these things. It's about playing football. And today we'll showcase that. So anxious to see these guys compete.
Yeah, and for scouts, that's exactly it. Is that you've had all week to watch these individual matchups with players going up against competition they haven't faced throughout their career. And now you have the game action. And you love to watch those individual matchups in practice, but you also want to see who steps up today. Connor Shaw, the South Carolina quarterback a year ago, I thought was one of the best players here all week, and he really showed it in the game, going 5 for 6. It was a big moment for him. He really nailed the draft process last year, winds up getting drafted, and starts a game as a rookie. So there's a lot on the line for these young men.
Shaw was the big name in last year's game. Who are you looking for in this year's game?
I'm fired up about these pass catchers. I think there's some playmakers to watch here. First of all, Chris Conley, the Georgia wide receiver. What he does best is run vertical routes. He's a big-time playmaker. Can he get in and out of his breaks? He's been working on becoming a better intermediate route runner, so that's going to be something to watch today. Another big-time vertical receiver, West Virginia's Mario Alford. Explosive. You watch him on tape, he runs one route. It's a 9 route.
Yeah.
Today he's got to show he can do a little bit more, so that's a great opportunity for Alford. And then finally, DeAndre Carter. You guys have been raving about all week at practice. I got to watch a little bit of him. This young man, he's small. He doesn't come from a big program, but he has stood out, and all the coaches are raving about what he's done. He has slot receiver at the next level written all over him.
And he's been terrific, DeAndre Carter. A couple of the guys that I'm going to be looking at, Rakeem Cato. And for those of you at home, you don't know this guy, you have not been watching enough Marshall football. He's a real treat. He's not the biggest guy in the world. He only weighs 171 pounds. The frame concerns you. But what have we always talked about? It's about playing the game. He had his best day of practice in Thursday's practice. His best period was the last period. So the last little bit we saw of him was very, very impressive. And Leon Orr, the defensive tackle from the University of Florida, this guy is unbelievable from a talent standpoint. He does have some off-the-field question marks, but he's had a great week of work, and we'd like to be watching him very closely throughout the course of the game today.
The head coach for Team American, Mike Holmgren, he's taken teams to 3 Super Bowls, took Green Bay to 2, won a title with the Packers, also took the Seahawks to a Super Bowl. The head coach for Team National, Mike Martz, former head coach of the St. Louis Rams, took the Rams to Super Bowl 36 as a head coach, was on the Rams team that won Super Bowl 34. He was the offensive coordinator for the greatest show on turf. Team American will kick off. They're in the away white uniforms. Team National, the home team in this game, they will receive their in the black uniform. And Josh Lambo, the kicker from Texas A&M, former professional soccer player, kicks one off in a soccer stadium, and we're underway.
No chance you're letting any opportunity go there. 9 yards back in the end zone. Here we go.
And Team National runs it out, and they'll take the field. It was DeAndre Carter running that kickoff back. Todd mentioned him, pass catcher out of Sacramento State. We get our first look at this Team National offense. And to start out at quarterback, it's Jameel Showers out of Texas El Paso. He started his career at Texas A&M, lost his job to Johnny Manziel, and then transferred.
If you're going to lose your job to someone, it's not a bad guy to say you lost it to.
There's no question about it. He's been impressive, too. He can really spin the football, has a nice, clean release. He should perform well today.
first down. They keep it on the ground. Malcolm Agnew out of Southern Illinois picks up about 3.
Well, talking about Showers coming out of UTEP, obviously after the transfer, one thing about him that you see that is, I think, huge in evaluating quarterbacks is he has anticipation. He can throw to a spot down the field before a receiver has come out of his break, knows where the soft spots are in zone coverage, knows how to lead his receiver to that spot. So that's something we're going to watch for in this game. You see it on tape with him, and I think it's one of the more underrated aspects of scouting the quarterback position.
Back to Agnew, has a little bit of a seam, picks up a first down, and finally brought down across the 35-yard line by Eric Dargan from Oregon. We just saw Oregon not too long ago.
I give those guys a lot of credit. I mean, I didn't get out here till what, Thursday? They get here Wednesday after playing in the game Monday night.
And he's been good, too. I mean, he's shown above-average range and versatility. He's going to be a great special teams guy at the next level. The question mark about him is the straight-line speed. Can he really go? But he's been able to kind of shed some light on his anticipation skills as a defender.
First throw of the game, Showers completes the pass.
Nice catch there by Rodney Whitehead, Florida Atlantic. You always want to see the receivers pluck the ball away from their frame, go up and attack it with their hands. He does that there, and I think we're seeing a little bit. Jameel Showers early in this game just showing he's getting the ball out quickly, he's in rhythm, and that's what I'm talking about, plucking that ball away from his frame and then having the presence of mind to know I've got to work back to the outside in order to pick up some yards after catch.
You're not going to see any motion in this game, no 4 or 5 receiver sets. The goal of the game is to see these one-on-one matchups. And not much room that time for Jawan Edwards, the all-time leading rusher at Ball State. Let's take a look at some of the rules real quick, Todd, in this game. No linebacker dogs or safety blitz. What do we mean there by linebacker dogs?
Well, basically, there's no blitzing. You know, you're looking at regular pressure. This is, as you know, this is a quarterback's dream.
Yes. You know what the coverage is going to be. You don't have to anticipate what it's going to be. You don't have to react post-snap. So this really allows the guys to play fast, and that's what's most important. They'll be able to play fast without a lot of thinking, and that's what's most important in a game like this.
Showers this time on the delay, then Agnew into plus territory. Greg, something else we saw in the rules there. No shotgun snaps unless it's third down, unless it's a 2-minute drill situation. A lot of these quarterbacks are unfamiliar. We're not used to taking snaps from under center.
I love that, too, because you could see early on in the week there was a lot of fumbled snaps, guys not stretching away from center, and at the next level, in the NFL, you have got to be comfortable underneath center at the line of scrimmage.
And the NFL now is probably averaging, I'd say, 30% under center, but
right.
You're talking about a lot of quarterbacks. That's 30% more than they ever got under center in
Absolutely.
college. So it's still a very important aspect of the game they have to learn.
Showers will improvise on 3rd and 5, gets a first down and more, and Jameel Showers down at the 28-yard line. A nice pickup there.
And a good job right here not forcing it into coverage. You can see him work right on a little stick concept front side, and then he gets vertical. So often you see guys at the college level going side to side trying to break the pocket horizontally. At the NFL, you can't go horizontally. Those defensive linemen can run faster than you. So going vertical, a good job of Jameel Showers right there, showcasing that underappreciated athleticism that he really has.
Yeah, climb the ladder. I mean, so many quarterbacks, you watch it, it gets frustrating. And there's inside pressure. Yes, you have to slide left, right, but there's any kind of perimeter pressure. You've got to be able to climb, step up, and have confidence. It's uncomfortable in there. You know, anyone who's ever played quarterback, you're running into the mess.
Timeout. National team. They're first of the half.
Mike Martz calls a timeout for Team National. 11-12 to go. Team National on the move. The head coach for Team American in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl is Mike Holmgren, and he's with our own Quint Kessler.
Coach, welcome back to the sideline. What should the mindset of these young men be today and this week?
Well, you know, they've had a good week of preparation, but they're playing a football game, and it has a lot to do with their future, I would think. Plus, they're competitive. They're football players. This is what they love to do, so that's what I talked to them about in the locker room.
What's the most critical advice that you offered them today?
Well, go hard. Go hard and be a good teammate, okay? Rely on the guy next to you, and he's relying on you, and just give it everything you have. Don't hold anything back.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Greg, we were at practice the other day, and Mike Holmgren was teaching the quarterbacks on his team, and we had him mic'd up. It was something else to watch, the way he communicated to those guys.
He's a teacher, and he did it the entire week. And talking to him before the game, he has had the time of his life out here being back on the sideline, but trying their very best to position these guys to make plays in order to showcase what they can do on the football field. And I think him and his staff, as well as Coach Martz and his staff, have done an outstanding job.
This is Terrell Watson from Azusa Pacific. He's to the 25-yard line, same school that produced Christian Okoye.
You know, it's always interesting to watch different coaching staffs. We've had different staffs, all these all-star games, and over the years here at the NFLPA Bowl. It's so important what they do on the field, obviously, but then afterwards, when they get back to the hotel and all the teaching and coaching that goes on, especially when you're talking about young men trying to transition to the lifestyle, to different things that you have to handle that you've never had to handle before. So there's a lot of learning that goes on, and the NFLPA, obviously hosting the bowl, plays a big part in that throughout the week.
That's Juwan Edwards again, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons at Ball State. Todd, for guys from smaller schools, FCS schools, Division II schools, how much do they get scouted during the year, and do these kind of games mean more to them?
You know, they get scouted just as much as anyone else. You know, once you're on a preseason list, you're going to get evaluated, and as you continue to play well, you'll stay on the list and continue to pass through as scouts grade you. The difference is, in practice and in the game, you get to see these players against better competition than you usually do.
Shower steps up, flush, throws. And that's caught for a first down at the 15-yard line. Nice catch there by Devin Mahina, tight end out of BYU. Greg, you said he flashed in practice this week.
He did, and it just uncovers. He's got very soft hands, but right there, Showers, an outstanding job. The first time we've seen him take a 7-step drop today. He climbed in the pocket vertically, remained a passer, didn't take his eyes from down the field, and found an open target. Those are the plays you have to make as you move forward throughout this game, and obviously once you get into an NFL camp.
Slot receiver DeAndre Carter out of Sacramento State. Agnew running left side, pulls over a defender. He's inside the 10, close to a first down.
You know, there's a difference with these running backs. You can see already on this first drive. Michael Agnew's got a little bit more pop, a little bit more juice than these other backs when they're in there. And he's had the majority of the carries, but he left the game for a few carries. Other running backs were able to, pick up short yardage. He comes right back in and picks up, 8 yards on that first down carry. I'm impressed so far. I mean, you just can see it a little bit different, initial burst and burst through the line of scrimmage out of Agnew.
He moves well. He's got pretty good lateral quickness, and he's got good feel in this zone type of offense, and that's kind of what they're trying to feature here early on in this first drive.
This is Watson, bounces off one defender, and he falls forward to about the 1-yard line.
And going back to Agnew real quick, I mean, he's a young man who's really been looking forward to this opportunity. He had an injury in the 8th game of the year against Youngstown State. Before that, he had 820 rushing yards in not even 8 full games played, was averaging 6 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns, was having a big year. And then it gets interrupted by the injury, but he's able to come out here and really show scouts that he has those tools and he's bounced back fully.
Watson now the deep back in the eye on 1st and goal. And the ball hits the ground, fumble near the goal line, into the end zone, and it's recovered by Team American. They'll get it at the 20-yard line. Now recovering the fumble that time, Califatoni Poli from Washington State.
There we see under
Rolling
center
on the
again.
field so that the runner possessed the ball while he crossed the end zone. Therefore, it's a touchdown.
Oh.
All you got to do is touch the line.
Let's take one more look. It was the fullback.
And right there, he's not trying to hand it to the fullback, but usually when you are in that I formation as an under center player, you really have to get away from the center. Right there, he opens up, hits the fullback on his way back to the running back. That's a mistake you just can't have, but fortunately enough, they were able to still get the touchdown.
It was a pretty good first drive by Jameel Showers. Got a little messy there at the ending, but a touchdown nonetheless. The ruling on the field was that after the fumble, Terrell Watson had possession of the ball as he broke the plane of the goal line. I'm not sure that qualifies as possession.
Hey, let the guys play.
When they look that up in a sports almanac 100 years from now, it's going to read Terrell Watson 1-yard touchdown run, and you would have think it was the greatest 1-yard touchdown run in the history of the game.
He can spin it like that. He can.
Really think someone's going to look it
drive
up?
in the box score is the baseball analogy.
10 years from now? Absolutely.
Javis Blue from Kentucky, Mario Alford from West Virginia, the speedster, back deep to receive the kick. As Jeremiah Detmer out of Toledo will kick it off for Team National. They've got a 7-0 lead. And Alford will take a knee. And Jerry Lovelock out of Prairie View A&M will get the first series at quarterback for Mike Holmgren's Team American.
He looks the part. I mean, when you see him just physically big, he's got a strong arm. He can be erratic, let's put it that way. He's been all over the place throwing the football this week, but there are throws he makes where you say, you know, there's something there. So he's a long-term developmental project. We'll see how he plays today, but for quarterback coaches out there and offensive coordinators, there's enough tools that you will want to maybe develop him, and I think he'll get enough looks as probably a priority free agent.
And he's kind of a guy a little too high with the highs, a little too low with the lows. If he can become a little bit more even-keeled, a little bit more consistent, he could develop into a very, very good player at the next level.
Checks down to the tight end, Wesley Tonga, and it's a gain of 9. Late flag on the play. Lovelock, Greg, was a guy in practice we saw struggle with taking snaps from under center.
And that's understandable. You have some nerves, you got some jitters, you're not comfortable being under center, and you have 3 different centers, 2 of which have never actually snapped the football. So they did have some growing pains early on in the week, but what we talked about in the first show on Wednesday was they don't have to be superstars. They don't have to be Hall of Famers.
Face mask. Defense number 55. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
They don't have to be Hall of Famers on Wednesday. They don't have to be superstars or great. They just have to show improvement. From Wednesday to Thursday, they had to get better. From Thursday to Friday, they had to look better. And then again, obviously today, and they need to play their very best game.
The evaluators know what you're going through. You're coming from Prairie View A&M. You're playing against guys from Florida and big-time programs. You have new wide receivers, new centers, as you mentioned, new offensive terminology, a new system. Everything is brand new. So you absolutely get scouts looking at you saying, I understand what he's going through, and we understand the early struggles. What you want to see as an evaluator is improvement over the week. And is the young man coachable? Is he picking things up? Is he playing better on Thursday than he was on Wednesday? And most importantly, when we get the game going, is he out there in control of the huddle? And is he doing it the way you would want him to do it and the way you've explained him on how to do it throughout the week?
You know, that concept right there you alluded to, the huddle. Novel for so many of these quarterbacks. Prince Tyson Gully, running back out of Syracuse. And he picks up a couple. Greg, you told a good story during the practices the last couple of days. The first time you stepped into a pro huddle.
The first time I stepped into a pro huddle was the first day. It was a lockout season, so it was the first day of fall camp. I walk in, to my left is LaDainian Tomlinson, Hall of Famer. I see Nick Mangold on my right, DeBrickashaw Ferguson, Santonio Holmes, and Plaxico Burris, and I'm thinking, hang on a second. I've been watching these guys for years. I saw you catch a pass that won a Super Bowl. I saw you catch a pass that won a Super Bowl. What is going on here? I see an MVP. So it's
Did you remember
hard.
the play?
No, I don't even think I called it right then. But it's tough because you walk into a huddle of grown men, guys that you've watched, and you expect them to have command and confidence. So that's very important. Something that these guys have not had a lot of practice doing.
Kevin Marr, our head referee.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Is it an adjustment, too, for some of these quarterbacks where you're not going up-tempo, you're not going at warp speed,
yeah, but
you're playing at a different pace?
You're probably excited about that this week because you're still learning the offense, and the 3 seconds, 4 seconds he has to get under center, it's really helping him. He's walking through the process of what this play is, where are my looks, who am I checking down to if the initial isn't open. So these quarterbacks enjoy being in that huddle and having a little bit of time.
On 3rd and long, that's Eric Tomlinson, tight end out of UTEP, short of the first down. So 4th down, and the punt team, Mike Sadler, will come on.
See there, the snap, just the mechanics of it, keeping your hands together.
Right.
I mean, you go back to Pop Warner, Little League, whatever you played as a kid. I can remember playing quarterback. The first thing I wanted to do was drop that left hand.
Absolutely.
It's just natural, but once you learn it, you got to lock them together, and the ball will be there.
People take things like that for granted, though. They take calling a play for granted. They take taking the snap from under center for granted. It's a lot more difficult than people give it credit for. So these guys have had some growing pains. Nothing early on that has me concerned about their ability to take a snap today.
Michigan State's Mike Sadler, high punt, fair catch signal by DeMarco Robinson from Kentucky, and he makes it at the 25-yard line, and that's where Team National will start. We'll step aside. 5:22 to go, first quarter.
Back at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. Team National leading 7-0. 5:22 to go in the first quarter. It's the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, 4th year ever, as we are joined by the chairman of the NFLPA, DeMaurice Smith. First of all, congratulations on year 4. But take me back. What is the goal of this All-Star game?
Well, we are a union who are committed to serving their members. And these young men who are coming out of college, hopefully transitioning into the pros, are going to be our members someday. So the goal is to not only put on a great game, but to spend a week where we can surround them with quality players, Hall of Fame players, great coaches, have them learn about the mission of the NFLPA, what it's like to be a professional, and most importantly, if football is not going to be in their future, what can you do right now to start preparing for that next chapter in your life?
What were some of the specific focal points this week?
We spend a lot of time focusing all of our men on what it means to be a professional in the National Football League. All of our fans get to watch a great game on Sundays, and I know everybody's looking forward to the games tomorrow, but when our fans turn the game off on the weekend, that's really when our union and our men step in to prepare them for what their life is as football players, as professionals, and for some of them who will not be playing professional football, what it means to move on to the next chapter of your life. So career transition, how to take care of your body, what it means to prepare yourself to be in the workplace. We constantly remind our guys that football is a great game, but in the National Football League, it's a $10 billion a year business. And we expect them to conduct themselves like great men, but also like businessmen in the business of football.
Thank you, DeMaurice. It's been a first-class event. Anish.
Thank you, Quint. Brandon Bridge, the new quarterback for the second series for Team National. Last pass completed to Chris Conley out of Georgia. And that's Ross Sherman, running back out of Lafayette, getting the call. And he takes it out to the 48-yard line. Bridge, the quarterback, ended his career at South Alabama, started it at Alcorn State. Canadian, very raw, Todd.
Very raw. A little bit like Jerry Lovelock. Looks the part, absolutely has the arm, can make all of the throws, but we'll watch the mechanics today. And there just don't seem to be enough guys out there that can coach the mechanics of the quarterback position. With him specifically, I think marrying his lower body to his delivery with his upper body is going to be very important for him.
Quick drop, that's Conley, and it's broken up. Good defense that time
and by
Team American.
By that, I mean your lower body, you've got to transfer the weight from back to front. And if you see here, watch 7, he does a nice job. He gets back there, drives off the back foot, transfers it from back to front, and it's all in line, almost like a golf swing. For those of you out there who play golf, you've got to get it all together in order to get power, and then it should be seamless and smooth. The quarterback position, there's so many guys that don't tie it all together, and they lose out on A, accuracy, and B, velocity on the ball.
Another thing to watch with him is how natural does the game come to him. Obviously a Canadian import from Canada. So how well does he understand concepts? How much teaching does it require? Because obviously it's incredibly difficult to step in as a young player and try to pick up where the veteran starter might be mentally. So all those aspects are going to be things that he's going to have to prove to scouts that he can do and the things that he can manage.
Andrew Hudson out of Washington getting the sack on 3rd down. And Bridge will come off the field. Punting unit on. Patrick Carney will kick it away for Team National. He's out of New Mexico Highlands.
Hudson's an interesting player. I mean, he was a defensive lineman of the year in 2012. had a down year in 2013, but rebounded this year. Danny Shelton, Shaq Thompson, all those good players in the defensive front. He had 14.5 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks. So the production here early in this All-Star game, too.
Team American gets the ball back. 3:13 to go in the opening quarter.
You have time to confirm it on your way back as you're looking at Z. Okay, if it's man, you can look right at him, so you'll have time to confirm it on your way back, and then all of a sudden you figure out his zone, you just flip your eyes back inside and find that pump. Does that make sense? You don't like my pump signal? You don't like this for pump?
Well, I thought we were doing pump.
You want me to do that? Okay. Yeah, good job, man. Way to handle the signals, all that stuff. You good with take and veer? That's 20 veer over here. Good. Way to go. Proud of you, man. That was a great drive. Good job.
John Kitna, the offensive coordinator for Mike Martz's Team National. Kitna, an undrafted free agent out of Central Washington, began his career in NFL Europe. He ended up playing 16 seasons in the National Football League. Prince Tyson Gully, nice hurdle for the running back out of Syracuse, and he's to the 27-yard line, a gain of 7. Tyson Gully's a guy who had some buzz coming into this week.
He played at the Medal of Honor Bowl last week, and scouts were talking about him there. He's not the biggest back, but he's quick. He has good vision, and what I really like is the versatility. He catches the ball extremely well out of the backfield, so he's a back to watch on third downs and passing downs throughout this game.
Hauled in by Brian Vogler, tight end from Alabama. It's a first down. Let's go down to Kevin Weidel from Scout Sync with more on Prince Tyson Gully.
Yeah, guys, I was down in Charleston Tuesday and Wednesday for the practice, and what stood about him is his versatility as a pass catcher. I really liked his routes. I thought he was detailed, naturally catching the football, quick transition, and he's naturally instinctive as a runner. Great vision. To me, Prince Tyson Gully, I had a lot of scouts hit me up, and he created a lot of buzz down there in Charleston.
And he's actually about to get the ball right here on a draw, so let's see how fast he runs the football.
Well, it's interesting how you know that, huh?
Not much help.
Did you just guess that off the formation?
I recognize the formation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. No. We actually might or might not have Coach Mike Holmgren's offensive script, so he was kind enough.
You sold yourself out. You could have just said, listen, I'm anticipating.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It actually is very helpful because you know what they're going to try to run, and then you can look at the offensive line, where the blocking angles are, what the receivers are supposed to be doing. So in a game like this, obviously they don't want us handing it to the opponent, to Mike Martz and his staff, but in a game like this, it's nice to have, and it gives us something else to look at.
After a loss of 7, Lovelock to the air. Under pressure, wrapped up, and he's going to go down. Did pick up a few yards. It'll bring up 3rd and long. Championship weekend in the NFL. Boomer and the guys on Countdown break down the NFL's Final Four. Find out who will cement their legacy and what teams will be heading to the Super Bowl. ESPN postseason NFL Countdown tomorrow at noon on ESPN. All right, Greg, you've got the play sheet. What can we expect here on 3rd and long?
So on this one, we're going to get a zebra shallow cross.
What does that mean?
It is a shallow cross by number 81, Kalen Clay. He's going to be running across the field. You should see a 7-step drop by Jerry Lovelock, and it should hit right there.
There it is. Low throw, and Clay out of Utah unable to hold on. 4th down.
And that's a bad throw. You got to bring that up. You have to give him a shot. Throw it right in his face mask. NFL accuracy, you hit the receiver in stride in the face mask every single time. So that right there is something he's going to have to work on, his ability to move in the pocket and create that arm angle so he doesn't get any congestion up front. That's something he's going to have to work on and get better at.
And you watch the top of the drop, and that ball should be out. You know, get to the top of the drop and get that ball out. It'll allow you to really get the ball there on time. If you take that extra step, you're going to wind up getting more traffic in your face. And that's really what happened.
And footwork in the NFL, it's a violent movement.
Yes.
When you're dropping, it needs to be violent. So very, very aggressive getting out from under center. And when you hitch up coming the other direction after you reach the top of your drop, that needs to be violent as well.
Flag on the return by DeMarco Robinson on what could be the last play of the first quarter.
Got some Mountain West referees, some Pac-12, some Big 12, some mixed bag today.
During the return, block in the back, receiving team number 37, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, first down, timeout. Let's take care of the drive now.
1 quarter in the books here in Carson, California at the StubHub Center, 7-0 Team National. A lot of Rams fans in attendance here at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. Is that a metaphor at play right there? Southern California, Rams.
We got you. Got you the first time.
Brandon Bridge will hand it off. That's Juwan Edwards. And the Ball State running back. Now to about the 34-yard line. Edwards 5'10", about 220. All-time leading rusher at Ball State.
He's got good balance. You see the kind of the center of gravity, can make the quick cuts. So far, as I said earlier, I thought Malcolm Agnew's been the best back, but some of these other running backs are going to get some significant carries. It's tough. You want to get into a rhythm, and I think that's what they did early with Agnew. Give him a handful of carries, let him go.
This is Watson out of Azusa Pacific.
Nice job by this offensive
line. Takes up the first down.
This offensive front doing a really good job up front blocking, creating creases for these backs to exploit. You're going to see here.
And left tackle right there, that's Cole Manhart, Nebraska Kearney. He's kind of an interesting guy, a small school guy, but he's performed well this week. Scouts were talking about him a little bit.
Yeah,
and he's shown a lot better than I think a lot of people were expecting.
I think the guard there, Thomas Farniak from Iowa State, was a center throughout his career, but has played guard and center throughout this week and has really shown some versatility. He's had a nice week.
Not much there. The center on this offensive line, Nick Easton, also generating buzz. Kevin Weidel with more.
A great job playing with leverage. He's got tremendous awareness locating blockers. He's had a good week, and scouts that I've talked to off the field, he's generated a lot of buzz, and they have a lot of interest in him. He's a guy that are going to make force scouts to go back and watch some extra tape.
Weidel's an elitist. He loves those Ivy League schools.
Hey, Matt Burke out of Harvard, center,
yeah,
good career.
And he's right. He's had a really strong week.
Bridge to throw. Checks down, and that's dropped by Edwards. Greg, what have you seen out of the quarterback so far?
Well, it's been okay. Brandon Bridge, obviously, his best throw was probably his first play on the Action 5 post to Chris Conley. He has some tools, but like we talked about, he's a little bit slow in reading the coverages, not really progressing all that fast in his footwork, got sacked on the last series. So far a good start. Jamel Showers, though, has been probably the best performer so far early on in this one.
Also interesting, Bridge wears a glove on his throwing hand.
Like Bridgewater.
Yeah. Bridge steps up, and he's taken down right at the line of scrimmage. Good pursuit that time by Zach Wagaman out of Montana.
And he plays hard. 17 sacks this year for Wagaman. And so much of it, effort and motor. You see there, he was able to turn the corner a little bit, got held, kept rocking and rolling around the edge. I mean, this guy is constantly, when you study the tape of him, flying around the field and playing hard. And if it's special teams, if it's just on practice squad, whatever it is, there's a place for guys like this in the National Football League. Classic overachiever.
And offensive linemen can't stand high motor guys. They can't stand high motor guys because of how difficult they make it.
Kalen Clay out of Utah with a nice return for Team American.
There you see Wagaman making a name for himself today. Said, I'm going to outwork these big offensive linemen. 7-0 National.
Donovan McNabb taking in the action on the sidelines. He could play a little quarterback. Top 10 pick out of Syracuse in the late 90s. Team American will keep it on the ground here on first down. A nice run there by Kenny Williams. This was Mike Martz talking to his quarterback in the break.
Have to step up.
Pressure where?
From the right side, sir.
How do you know that?
Because I was looking at the safety and I felt pressure to the right. So I had to step up.
Just keep your eyes downfield. Take the hit. You started up as soon as that back foot hit.
Yes, sir.
Keep your eyes downfield and make the throw. You have plenty of time to make that throw.
Yes, sir.
If he came off, he came off, but you're going to make that throw. You can't come back and look at the protection.
Yes, sir.
Get back and let that ball go.
Yes, sir.
Understand?
Yes.
That's classic. That is classic. You don't see the rush. No, you see the receiver. That's where you're throwing it.
The second he said pressure where, he knew he was in trouble.
He was talking to Brandon Bridge. Let's go back to the play that Martz was referring to.
I mean, I'm a quarterback, so I usually try to see it from a quarterback's perspective. Not a lot you can do right there. He probably did have a little bit too much time. Not really familiar with these receivers. Can't anticipate the throws. The scouts will forgive him right there for not cutting it loose.
All good coaching points, though. I mean, the emphasis clearly is to get to the top of your drop. Don't worry about where the rush is coming from. Get that ball out.
Play action. Marshall's Rakeem Cato in a quarterback being chased. And wanted to dump it off to the tight end, Tomlinson. Incomplete.
That's a good opportunity there if he keeps his eyes downfield. He had a receiver that broke open late, Javis Blue from Kentucky, on that post in the backside. And you see so many times with college receivers, the eyes come down when they start to run, and it's something we've seen during this practice, you see during all the all-star practices, and you see it throughout the year too when you go to practice preparing for a game. Coach is constantly working with quarterbacks to keep your eyes down the field.
So much of the college game and the NFL game now, because of the athleticism at quarterback, is becoming on broken plays, scramble drill type plays. Those are things that Rakeem Cato excels at.
Yep.
So I'm surprised that he missed an opportunity there.
This is Lucky Whitehead out of FAU. Some nice dance moves, and he's to the 42-yard line. Big Monday on ESPN tips off with Jamie Dixon's Pitt Panthers taking on Jaleel Okafor and the 4th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. Big win for Duke today against Louisville, and then it's Oklahoma taking on Kansas. The Jayhawks still unbeaten in Big 12 play. Oklahoma led by Buddy Hield. Team National with the ball. We get our first look at Andrew Hendricks, the quarterback from Miami University. That's the one in Oxford.
And he's had his moments this week. I mean, he's had his moments. Balls comes out nice. One thing that really impressed me watching him, watching the tape, is that he made his own adjustments at the line of scrimmage. Yes, in that offense, it was all shotgun. He didn't do a ton under center. They did, on occasion, get under there. But he'd walk up to the line without looking to the sideline and tell the offensive line what to do. That's going to really help him because quarterbacks need to be so well-versed in their protections at the NFL level. He'll be able to make that transition a little bit easier because he has experience doing that.
That's Agnew, and he's upended at the 47.
And Agnew, to me, early on has kind of jumped out. Just as I said before, the pop that he has as a runner. You're going to see here, gets a crease, then that sharp cut back to the inside. You love to see that lateral agility. Runs low to the ground, good center of gravity, and he drives at the end of runs. Competitiveness, you're always looking for it. Is he going to protect the ball, drive his legs, and fall forward? This guy Agnew runs behind his pads, and he's impressed me with the way and just kind of the physical nature he's had early on.
And he's a patient runner, too. He doesn't press it too fast. He allows the offensive line to do the work, and then he makes them right by hitting the hole. So all those things will translate well into the next level.
Delay on 3rd and 5. Agnew up the middle. And it looks like he's going to be just shy of that first down marker. It'll bring up 4th down and 1.
See here, actually a really good play call here with the draw. Nice job of the interior offensive line. He tries to kind of spin back around to pick up the first, and 3 defenders converge on him.
One injury update for you. Terrell Floyd, one of the DBs on Team American out of Louisville, hurt, will not return. It's a dislocated finger. 4th down, Hendricks will go for it. Quarterback sneak, good enough for a first down. 6'2", 221, straight ahead.
Nice little pause there before he goes. You've done that a couple times, McElroy.
A few too many. I'm not a big quarterback sneak guy. We had a couple good running backs when I was at school.
Yeah.
So we usually like to turn around and hand it to one of them.
It's a factory there.
Three-step drop, Hendricks releases, completes, near side Nick Harwell, wide receiver from Kansas.
And these receivers have to remember, and everyone for that matter, is down by contact. Very different at the college level. We're playing with NFL rules today. So when you catch the ball and your knees on the ground, or both knees in this case are on the ground, you can still get up. Now, he got touched there at the end, so he's fine. But it's something to watch for. We talked to the referees today. They said this is the one rule they may be a little bit lenient. If a receiver gets a first down, stands up, tosses the ball up in the air, and gives the first down signal, they're probably going to blow the whistle, but it's something they've been working on this week. 2 feet in bounds, all the other NFL rules that receivers have to get used to.
And that might be the easiest tackle DeShazer Everett's ever made. He finished second on the team at Texas A&M with 73, so he's not afraid to stick his nose in there, but that was an easier one for him.
Tight end Devin Mahina, his second catch. He's to the 27-yard line. Devin Mahina really came on at the end of the season for BYU.
We talked to Anthony Beck before the game, and he was saying he really likes both of his tight ends that are here, Devin Mahina and Cameron Clear. Mahina really has been standing out, catching the ball down the seam, showing enough athletic ability, using his body well to shield defenders, and then strong ball skills. So he's really stood out to Beck and to a lot of the scouts here throughout the week.
And he saved his best for last, too. As a senior, his best year by far and away. Had a 2-touchdown performance at one point in the season. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. You got to continue to improve, though, no question.
Timeout, Team National. We'll step aside as well. Seven 0 Team National here in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Mike Martz, the head coach for Team National. He's assembled a pretty good roster of assistants. Guys you've definitely heard of. John Kitna, the offensive coordinator. Priest Holmes led the NFL in rushing during his career. He was an undrafted free agent out of Texas. Andre Reed, a Hall of Famer. Anthony Bechter, good pal who's with us now, former West Virginia tight end. Ron Pitts. Some big names there. Jackie Slater, Hall of Famer.
And Andre Reed is, we've been watching him and talking with him. He is having the time of his life out here working with these guys. He loves his wide receivers. He thinks there are several guys in that group that, like Todd hit on in the open, that can play on Sundays and not just play for a year or two. We're talking big-time 10-year careers the way he talked about it. He was raving about them. And he's been a lot of fun, a lot of energy that he's brought to practice, a lot of excitement and enthusiasm.
Darryl Green, he's one of the assistants on Team American.
Can still run a 4.4, I bet.
He told Quint Kesnick at practice the other day that 5 years ago, at age 50, he ran a 4.43 40.
So ridiculous.
He was going around, in fact, maybe if we have the clip, we'll show it later in the broadcast. He was pointing to different guys saying, I could beat him, I could beat him, I can beat him.
Well, a couple of the guys he pointed out were me and Mr. Polian.
Right.
You could definitely beat us.
Screen pass to Juwan Edwards. Makes one defender miss, and then he's run out of bounds by Chase Williams out of Virginia Tech. What does that mean, though, for these guys to have that sort of caliber of coach in terms of guys who've done it at a big-time level in the NFL?
It means a lot, obviously. I mean, just having someone that you know and can talk to you and be real with you when you get back to the hotel and tell you about some of the issues and some of the things that you're going to face when you get to the next level, not just between the lines, but handling money, handling groupies and different pressures that come. And there's just so many things, as you know, that you run into as an NFL player that you're not used to as a college player. You're usually, I don't want to say coddled, but you're in kind of a bubble when you're in college. In the NFL, you have more.
There's a substitution rule in progress. This will be a replay.
Marty Schottenheimer once said it best: more money, more free time, and more fame than you've ever had in your life. And for some guys, it's difficult to deal with.
There's also a little relatability there in terms of some of these guys who went on to great careers, drafted low, not drafted at all, from small schools. There's Terrell Watson. He's a small school guy from Azusa Pacific.
This offensive line's doing a nice job in the run game especially. See Tacoby Cofield for Duke, 6'4", 305 pounds. You see him get the second level. You've got really doing a nice kick-out block there.
And this offensive line has really kind of come together over the course of the week. Not very good on Wednesday. Looked a little bit better on Thursday. Today, it seems like it's finally all coming together. Right here, you're going to get a play called 40 Bob. It should be a run to the right. So let's watch this fullback and see how he gets up in there and leads in the hole.
Watson cuts it back. Taken down by Ryan Murphy out of Oregon State.
This offensive lineman threw me off. They're exchanging helmets.
They're exchanging helmets.
Yeah. So the left tackle's wearing the Duke helmet. Looking at 73, who's not wearing a Duke helmet, but we'll figure it all out. But they're doing a nice job. Nice job up front.
It's a lot of stickers. Robinson out of Kentucky, the slot receiver here, and some movement on that left side. Looked like 64 Cole Manhart.
False start. Offense number 64. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
And those are backbreakers right there. When you get in the red zone, yards are so hard to come by at any level. I mean, not just the NFL level. You're in a second and manageable situation. Now you get pushed back, so it's almost as though it really hurts your team. Those are plays when you're an undrafted free agent, a bottom of the roster guy, a guy who's trying to impress scouts. You cannot make mistakes like that. Those will drive coaches crazy.
On 2nd and 11, another run play. Edwards, and he stood up right at the line of scrimmage. That's Zach Wagman again. First team All-American at the FCS level out of Montana.
A heck of a game so far. All over the field, as you would expect.
All right, so this next play coming up on 3rd and 10, what you would expect. They're going twins right, ace right. That's a formation and the protection, 9.99. So all three players on the wide receivers will be running across like this, straight up, right into the end zone. Should be reading the tight end, Mahina. That should be a touchdown.
Hendricks to the end zone. The ball is tipped, and it's incomplete.
Should have gone with your read.
Jabril Johnson.
He had Mahina
got a hand on it.
Wide over. The safety crossed over, and he had him. You can see his eyes were locked there. And the safety did a nice job of reading the quarterback's eyes. That's really what happened. Hendricks is staring down the right side, and you see the defensive back, Cedric Thompson from Minnesota, does a good job of reading his eyes and gets over there and makes the play. Had he just come back down to the tight end,
right,
there's someone in this booth.
And that's a free safety read, so you can look them either direction.
Exactly, and then come back.
But when the windows are smaller, the lanes are tighter, I always err on the bigger target.
Oh, yeah.
So I might have worked the tight end right there, but he made a decent throw. It was a good defensive play to knock him down.
Field goal by Toledo's Jeremiah Detwermer is good from 33 yards. Steve Hutchinson is the offensive line coach for Team American. This is Hutch teaching.
You leave the front side linebacker on 40 for the tight end.
Yeah, we had the backside.
Okay, well okay. All right, well then point it out, make it clear. Tight ends, all right? Point it out, make it clear. Don't count that safety comes down. You know, you leave the first bubble linebacker for the tight end, and then you guys go backside. Right.
Again, back to street cred on the coaching staff. 7-time All-Pro on the offensive line, coaching those young linemen. That goes a long way.
Well, I don't know that Hutchinson needs to coach. He played at a high level for a long time and made a lot of money. He doesn't need to be here, though. And he's decided to come here and coach these young men because he cares about the game and he wants these guys to learn how to do it the right way. They've all picked up on things. And I'm talking to scouts as I was getting ready and preparing for this. almost everyone mentioned the job that he has done with the offensive linemen. So it's been impressive. If he wants to coach in the league, I'm not sure he does, but if he does, he'll have an opportunity because of what he's shown this week.
And Bill Polian hit on that. You come, you evaluate players, sure, absolutely, that's a given.
Right.
But you're also evaluating coaches, and Bill Polian said it himself. He would hire John Kitna tomorrow to coach quarterbacks or call plays, whatever it may be. So it's definitely important. And if Steve Hutchinson, if he did in fact want to make that commitment, then I'm sure doors would open and opportunities would be
I remember
there.
years ago, Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver, had a great week at an all-star game. It was Keenan McCardo, who had just come out of the league, and he was working with him. And all week long, there was a little bit more tempo, a little bit more energy with the wide receivers because of the coaching style and because of all the little drills that McCardo was going through. And now McCardo gets a job. He's doing a great job with Maryland with their wide receivers.
I've had some good ones. Stephon Diggs, Dion Long recently. Rakeem Cato, that ball is tipped and it falls incomplete. Cato from Marshall led the Herd to their first ever 13-win season this past year. And he set an FBS record with a touchdown pass in 46 straight games. Greg, you, Bill Polian, Dan Hawkins, throughout the course of the week, you guys point out to the size. 6 feet, 178 pounds. That seems to be the big drawback with him.
And I'm not sure he's 178. I think he's probably more in the range of around 170, 168 to 172 range, depending on what time of day it is. But that's one thing he does need to work on. He needs to try to get in the weight room, really commit himself over the next 3 months prior to the draft, because he has the skill set, he has the production, he has the work ethic, he has the football acumen. He can do all those things, but the size is really the biggest concern. And that's a big one in the NFL, because when they sign you, when they draft you, that you are an investment. You are money to NFL owners and GMs and all those things. So it's very important to make sure that that investment is secure, it's safe.
And throughout his career, I mean, the dude's a gamer. He really is. He comes out, he makes plays. We saw him earlier. He didn't have his eyes down the field on one throw, but throughout his career, he was, as you mentioned, he was known for that. He always moving around, extending plays with his feet, locating receivers down the field. We talked to Coach Holmgren before the game, and he was saying, you know, I just want to watch Cato today. When the initial play breaks down, he just does so many good things. So he's a fun quarterback to watch, and I agree with you. He's got to put on weight. He's got to get stronger. But we've seen a lot of quarterbacks reemerge 2-3 years down the road and get another shot.
Kenny Williams got the call there on 3rd down. It'll bring up 4th down for Team American.
And he's thin.
He's thin, yes.
He's thin. But like what you said, Todd, I mean, it's more to me than anything else about playing the game. The measurables are one thing, but you cannot measure the heart. You cannot measure the ability. You cannot measure the competitiveness. None of those are numbers that you can put on a piece of paper. And Rakeem Cato has proven over the course of his career at the collegiate level that he's as good as any when it comes to situations like that.
You mentioned players being down without contact in college football. 2-minute warning. Got to get used to that as well. So do we. We'll step aside on 4th and 2. Saturday in SoCal, we're at the StubHub Center, the home of the LA Galaxy from the MLS. How long do you think it took to grow that beard? There might be birds in there.
2 weeks.
Eric Tomlinson, head of UTEP. Dollar Shave Club for Christmas.
No more fair catches.
Mike Sadler punts it away. Ooh, Lucky Whitehead gets smashed.
So much for my advice.
You sure you don't want any more fair catches?
Yeah, maybe you do.
Nice play there on special teams by Michael Doctor out of Oregon State.
I like Doctor. He's a good player. He really, I mean, throughout his career, he's been a solid player. He had a nice week here. 3rd on the team in tackles this past year. And when you look at it, 2013 had the ankle injury. I think a lot of people kind of forgot about him, but he reemerged this past season. Love special teams, too. Guy coming here and contributing, going down and making tackles, showing that you can do what you need to do as a late-round draft pick to stay on a roster.
Jameel Showers back in at quarterback. He's harassed under pressure.
That is a great play.
And hit by Brock Hecking as he gets rid of it.
Goes down as an incompletion, but it's a great play to extend it, He kept his eyes down the field there. He's looking for open receivers. Nothing flashes open. And you see there, look, eyes are up. Now he's got to turn and run, but he gets his eyes back up, keeps his balance, and has the wherewithal to throw the ball out of bounds and avoid a 3-4 yard loss there. Nice job. I think he's been the best quarterback so far that we've seen today.
By the way, we mentioned Eric Tomlinson's beard. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Brock Hecking's mane. Wow. I mean, that's a mullet for the ages.
It doesn't quite do it justice.
No,
it has to
it
do
doesn't.
with the helmet off, so we'll catch him on the sideline at one point. It is outstanding.
It's the top all business.
Hecking from Nevada. Showers again, in trouble. He's going to try to run, and again, he'll throw it away.
There's a little Russell Wilson in him. It's not obviously not quite as explosive, not quite as productive at the collegiate level, but he has the big hands, similar build to Russell Wilson. He can create a little bit, spins the ball extremely well, can anticipate throws like you hit on early in the show. I think he's got a real shot to be on a roster next year if he continues to improve and develop.
Todd, everyone talks about Winston, Mariota at the top of the quarterback draft class. Overall, you guys have pointed out it's a weaker QB class in terms of depth. Does that give guys like a Brandon Bridge or a Jameel Showers a chance to catch on with the team?
You don't grade them any differently. You know, if you have a 6th-round grade on Showers, a 7th-round grade, that's what you give him. But a lot of teams do want to bring in a quarterback a year, whether it's as a draft pick or as a free agent. You see there a nice throw, leading his receiver. It's Nick Harwell there from Kansas. I like his anticipation, as we mentioned. I like the fact that he's been on point and everything is happening within rhythm. But to answer your question, a young man like this, maybe he has a better chance to get on a roster and to be brought in as a free agent because there are so many teams out there that want to bring in extra guys, and sometimes it's just a camp arm. But if you get into camp and you show that you can make the throws, you get an opportunity.
Last pass ruled incomplete as Harwell was coming down.
And back to the quarterback thing, an unfortunate situation in the new collective bargaining agreement. You don't see a lot of third-string quarterbacks on the active roster anymore. You do, however, see a lot on the practice squad, but they used to have a rule where the 46th player was a quarterback. That was the only position it could be. You could dress 45 and the 46th had to be a quarterback. In the new collective bargaining agreement, they dropped that rule, and now it can be any player. So it's kind of hurt the development for guys like a Jameel Showers or a Cole Stout or whoever it may be, maybe the bottom the bottom of the draft guys. It's hurt their development and their opportunity to get better. So it's an unfortunate situation with the new CBA, but it is what we have to live with at this point.
Todd, we saw a couple of nice special teams plays. Ace Clark there on the previous punt. It was Michael Doctor. A lot of these guys, that might be their role if they end up on a roster. How critical are these punt return coverage and kick return coverage teams?
You're watching. I mean, you're watching in practice. You're watching in the game. You're going to go back as a scout and you're going to watch the game, just the special teams. Every tape is cut up, offense, defense, special teams. Scouts, especially, I mean, with all players, but they really focus on later round picks. They're going to watch that kicking game. Is he covering? What is he doing? Can he help us in any way, shape, or form? Because a lot of times that's what you're selling is, hey, I know he's not going to play a lot on defense, but he's going to help us in the special teams game.
Let's listen to Kevin Marr.
Holding. Offense number 76. That penalty is declined. Second down.
Play went for a loss anyway. It was Paul Lasike on the reception. Let's go back to the punt. Watch 35, Ace Clark out of Western Carolina.
And you can see right here, taking off. The effort. Special teams is all about effort. I mean, that's what it's all about. It takes effort and fundamentals. So it's so important to
stay in your lane and chase
and be coachable too, because it's not really explained the same way at the college level as it is in the NFL. It's not put as much on a pedestal, not as much of an emphasis. So the guys that are adjusting to it throughout the spring and throughout the fall camp are the guys that are going to make the roster.
I love Mike Martz right now. You know, I mean, give me more offensive plays. Timeout, timeout. You heard him screaming, timeout, timeout, timeout. He wants the ball back.
Absolutely.
It's about the players. You're trying to get them extra reps right in front of scouts.
Yeah, you are. But Mike Martz also wants to run his offense. He's always wanted to run his offense.
And I looked at that.
Hey, we want to remind you the Pro Bowl is coming to ESPN. Hall of Famers and team captains Chris Carter and Michael Irvin will draft the players. It doesn't matter what conference they're in. It'll be played at the site of the Super Bowl, and it'll feature inside access to the locker room and wired sound from multiple players. And it comes your way Sunday, January 25th, 8 Eastern on ESPN. We've got a number of coaches on the field wired today. Quint Kesnick, Kevin Weidel down on the sidelines. Really all access here at the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. We've been all access all week. We've been covering a few of the practices if you watched over on ESPNU Wednesday and Thursday. Rakeem Cato in trouble. Somehow stays on his feet, and Cato finally forced out of bounds.
Great job getting out of bounds, although they're going to punt, so I guess it doesn't matter. That was third down there. It's fourth. This is going to be 4th and 6, so they're going to have to punt the ball back, and Mike Martz is going to get his wish. Probably close to 30 or so seconds left, and take a shot, right?
And back at that third down play, he was trying to work Kalen Clay to the left side on a little 10-yard out. A great job by Cody Riggs, who's kind of stood out this week. I know Kevin Weidel really hasn't been impressed by what he's been able to do. The top line speed is a little bit of a question mark, but the savvy, the football instincts, he clearly has those, and just shut down a third down opportunity right there.
Riggs was from Florida, originally transferred to Notre Dame this past year, and contributed and showed a lot. He's had a heck of a week, you're right.
Well, after what we saw in the last two punts, DeMarco Robinson calls for a fair catch. He didn't want to get lit up, and Team National, no timeouts left, 42 seconds to go in the half.
I'm fired up for the halftime show. I mean, if you look down here, we got a bunch of little leaguers. Pop Warner players.
Pop Warner, yeah.
They've been hanging by the wall. They're ready to go. So I don't know where you guys are going at halftime. I'm going to take it all in. How cool is that, though?
I like an all-star game on that East team. Look at the socks, the neon green Lightning socks. Can we see them? Maybe after this play, if we can see. Number 4. Camille Showers
nice
on
ball.
First down. Completes far sideline. That's Nick Harwell again. Second down. Clock continues to tick.
It's a great opportunity to watch a quarterback run this 2-minute drill with new receivers, new system. How quickly is he picking things up?
Showers downfield for Robinson. Broken up that time. Coming over the top, Donald Seliskar out of Western Michigan.
It's a really nice play by the defense, but just watching the mechanics of Showers here at the quarterback position. You always hear people say in balance. Watch how balanced he is, and when the ball comes out, his feet are where they should be. He tempoed it pretty well. It's just a really nice play by the defender to come in.
An aware play, too, because he actually left the guy he was guarding and came up and read the eyes of the quarterback. That's very advanced by Donald Seliskar. And I feel like we're on repeat, but another guy that stood out this week. I mean, so many guys have really helped their stock over the course of the last several practices and the last few days.
Amazing how much more comfortable these QBs look from the shotgun, though, isn't it? Showers this time under duress. Threw it into traffic, intended for Dajuan Scott. It's broken up. There's Seliskar again.
There's not very few negatives that can come from going and playing in an all-star game. And I'm not one of those guys who's yelling and screaming that everyone has to go play and all those. But you look at even the Senior Bowl next week with Brett Hundley from UCLA choosing not to go and play. I don't understand. I mean, A.J. McCarron, who you know very well from Alabama, chose not to play in the Senior Bowl. That was his decision. That's fine. Jimmy Garoppolo from out of nowhere comes in and has a great week and shows NFL teams what he can do at that high level, taking McCarron's spot, and winds up getting drafted higher than him and maybe a better opportunity, but he winds up getting drafted earlier, and it may not have been the case. So to me, when you get a chance and you're not a top 10 pick, a lock to be a top 10 pick, go play. And I think all of these guys have done a really good job this week of taking advantage. You look at these top quarterbacks. Jameis Winston can't play in an all-star game because he's an underclassman. Marcus Mariota has not yet decided whether he's going to play as a fourth-year graduated junior. He can play next week in the Senior Bowl. I would love for him to play. I think he has a lot to prove, to be totally honest with you, in an NFL system. His system, he was exceptional. He was one of the best college quarterbacks we've ever seen. But playing in an NFL system, I think, throughout that week and being coached by NFL coaches could really help him. So we'll see if he makes that decision. Connor Cook's going to go back to Michigan State, you saw on that list, but Bryce Petty will be at the Senior Bowl next week, and really looking forward to watching him.
10-0 Team National after one half of play. Quint Kesnick with the head coach of Team National.
Coach Martz, what's it been like for you to be back in the game, back on the sideline?
It's fun. It's fun. You get excited for these guys, and hopefully they have a little bit of success. It's fun to watch them play.
What's been most encouraging?
Well, I think from where they were on Tuesday to game day, what we looked like on Tuesday, you'd say we probably ought to cancel that game. But they've come a long ways. We're proud of them.
Run game's been solid. What's your point of emphasis now as you sit these guys down for the next 10 minutes?
We got to help them in the protection. Defense is doing a great job. We just got to help better in the protections. We're turning guys loose. They're beating us up front a little bit, but we got a lot of guys moving in and out. It's going to happen in one of these games, but we just got to lock that down a little bit.
Thanks, Coach. Anish.
All right, thank you, Quint. Team National with a 10-0 lead. Time now to get you to the studio. A college basketball update with Adnan Burke, Miles Simon, and Andy Katz. We're back here at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. The NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Team National, Team American. It is Team National with a 10-0 lead. First half dominated mostly by the defenses. We're getting ready for the start of the third quarter. Anish Shroff, Todd McShay, Greg McElroy with you, Quint Kesnick, Kevin Weidel down on the field as the offenses try to get going a little bit, maybe shake off some cobwebs here in the third quarter. Greg, I'm going to start with you. Who stood out to you in the first half?
I'd say Jamel Showers. And frankly, his numbers aren't going to necessarily jump off the page. They were very, very under-impressive, I suppose. But what he did do, he extended the play. He made the correct decision. He got north and south when he did decide to run the football. And really in the 2-minute drive towards the end, a couple of his best plays, a couple of the best plays in the game by anyone were throwaways. They could have been sacks for big-time lost yardage. He ends up getting outside the pocket, losing it. So he's played well. He's impressed me. He did the entire week, so I'm not the least bit surprised.
Todd, whose play caught your eye?
Zach Wagenman, the defensive lineman, number 99 from Montana. You call him whatever you want. He's an overachiever. He's a tough guy. His motor never stops revving, and I saw a little bit of bend out of him and a quick first step as a pass rusher. So to me, I'm watching him versus these offensive linemen, some of the matchups in the second half. I think the trenches, both offensive lines have done a good job run blocking, struggled a little bit more in pass protection. Can they pick up protection, and can these quarterbacks get into a rhythm in the second half?
Let's go down to Quint Kesnick.
Coach Mike Holmgren, what'd you tell the guys down 10-0? What was the major point of emphasis?
Well, I thought our defense played pretty well. Offensively, we couldn't get anything going. Second half, we're going to try and punch it at them a little bit. But we got another half of football to play. It's a close football game. Let's get back in it. We can play better than we played in the first half.
What's important for the individual right now, for these young men, in their dream?
Well, nothing changes. When they're out in the field, they're being evaluated on what they do every play. And regardless of first half, second half, they're ahead, behind. They're going to be watched for everything they do out there, and I just remind them of that.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Team American offensively, only 43 total yards in that first half. Mike Holmgren was mic'd up in that first half. Here's a little snippet of what Holmgren was doing on the sidelines.
What call are you making in the huddle?
It was 13, I think. 34.
Double stutter go?
Yeah, 34.
He called double stutter go.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm going to call the play. It should work. Okay? We can't have 3 unblocked men. All right? Let's go. Did they cover the tight end?
Yes. Because both the backers fell off, so that's when the zebra came underneath.
All right, on the last one that we dropped.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good.
Greg at practice this week, that's what stood out about watching Mike Holmgren interact with his players, constantly teaching.
Always teaching. And there's always teachable moments on every single snap. And it wasn't just one guy. I mean, he was going from the quarterback group to the wide receivers to the defensive backs. He was everywhere, and he was encouraging because that's what this should be. These young men are going through a time that really you are very insecure. You don't know what people are thinking. You don't know what the Todd McShays and the Mel Kiper are thinking about you, writing about you. You don't know
Or
what
the
these
people that
scouts
matter.
think. Yeah. What these scouts think, what these teams think, what the personnel departments, what they think. So he was very, very positive, but he also was constructive with some of his criticism as well. These guys should have taken an awful lot from what Mike Holmgren has given him over the past several days.
Here's Mario Alford, the great top-end speed. Can he get Team American a spark? Instead, he's cut down inside the 15-yard line.
A nice tackle there. Alhaj Shabazz from Westchester. Love guys that can get down, cover kicks, and make tackles in the open field.
And there's Cole Stout getting instruction from Mike Holmgren.
I thought he got benched or left town. I wasn't sure what happened with Cole.
He did not play in the first half. In fact, he was the only quarterback on both teams that did not take a snap in the first half. We know the story with Stout here. Up and down season at Clemson, but a tremendous finish against Oklahoma in the Russell Athletic Bowl.
And when you look at him, he has the size at 6'4" and change, 218 pounds, big hands, 10-inch hand span. And as you said, finished strong, comes in with a lot of confidence. I've been excited all day to watch him play, and we still haven't seen him throw a pass.
That's Joe Bergeron. If the name sounds familiar, he's a transfer from Texas. Finished up at Texas A&M Commerce. Let's go back to Stout. He also has the pedigree. His dad, Cliff, played in the NFL for a long time, was Terry Bradshaw's backup for a long time.
I think he's probably the most polished of the quarterbacks here. I don't think he has a big-time arm, and he struggles some with the throws beyond 20 yards down the field. But inside 20, he shows accuracy, and I think he's done a nice job of going through progressions as you watch him late in his career. And this week, those were the reports I was getting from practice.
And you don't need to have a huge arm to play in the NFL, but you have got to be able to anticipate. Chad Pennington, not a big arm guy whatsoever, but he was deadly accurate, and he could anticipate before the defenders got to where the receivers were going to be. He was incredible. Cole Stout can be that. He just has to be able to develop that rapport with the wide receivers, which is difficult when you're not getting a ton of reps because you're a second string or a third string quarterback.
Third down after the completion to Javis Blue out of Kentucky. Stout at Clemson began the season as a starter, lost the job to Deshaun Watson after the Florida State game. Watson replaced him in that game against the Seminoles, and then Watson got hurt. Stout came back. Watson got healthy. Watson got hurt. And Stout was the guy to finish the season.
I think we're going to get a screen here.
He ran that play a lot at Clemson.
There it is.
Here's our guy.
Prince Tyson Gully out of Syracuse.
The burst.
You can see there.
Toes the end line or the sideline, and he gets popped by Emmanuel Johnson out of Southern Miss.
What a hit. Before the hit, it was a really nice job of transitioning up the field, working the sidelines. You see that quickness, the body control, and then poof, lights out.
That is an unbelievable hit on the sideline. I mean, that is a collision. You can never, ever, ever be casual on the sideline. Those guys are coming all the time. A little bit too casual on the sideline right there. He paid the price for it.
Now, that's been one of the question marks about Gully. Is he big enough, strong enough to play in the NFL? It's Bergeron again.
He's only, 5'7" and a half, 194 pounds. He's got adequate bulk for his shorter frame, and we talked about the versatility, the quickness, the vision, but can he break tackles? I think that's going to be one thing to watch with him. Can he take big hits like that and remain in the game? To me, he looks like he has enough physical tools and enough of the versatility that he can contribute at the National Football League level, but we'll have to see if he can hold up physically, because as we all know, the most important ability is availability.
That's right.
All right, so we're going to look at the fullback right here. He's going to run the halfback Texas route. Standard operation for the West Coast offense.
There's the fullback, Paul Lasike, a New Zealander who was an All-American rugby player at BYU.
Kind of a lost art, the fullback, but in the West Coast offense, you have got to have a guy that can catch the football. He's been impressive this week. There's obviously Justin Fowler from Alabama is going to be coming out. There's a few good fullbacks in this draft class, but I think Paul Lasike will find himself in a training camp because of his ability to play on special teams. Former rugby player, you know he can run, and you know he's not afraid to be physical as well.
Walked on the football team, went on a Mormon mission after going to BYU to play rugby. Comes back from the Mormon mission, says, you know what, I'm going to try out American football. does a heck of a job, walks on, winds up getting a scholarship, and really has been a strong contributor, was a strong contributor for them. And as you mentioned, showed a lot of positives with his blocking, with his catching, just his overall ability this week.
Nice tackle there in space by Keaston Terry, a former Pittsburgh State Gorilla.
He got run over a little while ago on the run to the left. We didn't want to say anything about it because we really like Keaston Terry, but right there he came back and made the tackle on the bigger offensive player. A nice tackle on third down right there to set up a punt.
Yeah, Terry is a former wide receiver at Kansas before transferring. 3.6 grade point average. I know that's around your neighborhood, right, Matt?
That's in the McShay stratosphere.
DeMarco Robinson from his own 20.
Nice cut.
Nice cut. And he's tripped up at the 35-yard line. Well, we got our first pop of the second half. Along that near sideline, Prince Tyson Gully. Look out for Emmanuel Johnson. Team Nationals turn on offense here in the third quarter. Greg McElroy playing the role of Nostradamus. You've got the cheat sheet. What are we expecting here?
So we're going to get 30 ISO. It's going to be just a straight standard lead blocking. And when Mike Martz called the play, he actually said, hey, let's let him knock the cobwebs off a little bit and open it up. So I want you to watch Doctor right here. He's going to be taking on the fullback. Let's see how they go after it.
Bridge stumbled, hands it off to Ross Sherman. And Ross Sherman, the running back out of Lafayette, who had 304 yards and 3 TDs in a game against Lehigh at Yankee Stadium, gets to the 40.
And you can see there's another issue under center. They had the fumble earlier that resulted in the touchdown. You run into that fullback when you're not used to being under center.
It's one of the hardest things to do.
Completely threw off the play.
That first step has to be greater than 90 degrees, if you will. So it's tough to get the snap and then open up as quickly to try to basically just get out of the way as a quarterback. And you're right, that's the second time he's struggled with that.
Sherman stays in the game, the All-Patriot League selection. Muscles forward to the 44-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd and 2.
I wish everyone could have seen McElroy during the commercial. I think he set a record for most emotion in a booth during an All-Star game. Certainly that I've been around. You're fired up for that play.
I love it. I love old school football. Yeah. I love old school football. I love having a fullback. I love running the ball downhill. I love the power eye.
Yeah,
Call me old-fashioned.
When you have Ingram and
Richardson, Eddie Lacy, that three-headed monster.
I see how you fall in love with that stuff, right?
Only negative, then you got to deal with game manager, right?
Yeah. I'll survive. I didn't mind that title. I was okay with it.
Toss to Terrell Watson out of Azusa Pacific. He's a guy, Greg, that caught your eye during the very first practice we were at on Wednesday.
And he just jumps out at you when he gets off the bus. It's like, wow, that looks like a football player. The obvious comparison is Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare, also an Azusa Pacific product. So he's about 240 pounds, 240 plus. Right there, the speed. We've been talking all week long because of his stature. He's a downhill back. But I think he runs better than people realize. And he proved it right there on the disco out the backside.
I love guys that are hungry. Worked his way through college, special teams maven, over 2,100 rushing yards, very productive.
Bridge will keep it off the play action. He's 2 yards shy of the markers, 2nd and short. Oh, Brandon Bridge here in the second half, maybe a chance to shake some of that early rust off. Mentioned a little difficulty taking that one snap from center, but as we alluded to in the first half, in terms of build, 6'5",
I mean, the first thing,
230 pounds.
He's big, he's strong arm and mobile. So, check those boxes off. And now it's about teaching him how to play the quarterback position with more precision and how to go through all the little things, from your drops under center, reading coverages, rhythm as a passer, getting the ball out on time. He has a lot of improving to do, but he's got a lot to work with.
Bridge over the middle, and that time he's got Tony Jones, the receiver out of Northwestern.
And he has the upside. I mean, when you look at a developmental prospect, this is exactly what you want. They described him earlier as a ball of clay. You can turn him into the player he can become. Now, people have been talking about Kaepernick, and people have been talking about the mobile quarterbacks. I think he's a better passer than people give him credit. Now, the motion's a little funky. It's a little bit different, and he's going to have to tighten up his release a little bit. Kind of an elbow lead thrower, which causes you to be inaccurate at times, but the arm strength is there, and the athleticism and upside is there, and you know scouts are going to be falling in love with all those characteristics.
Bridge to the air, a strike over the middle, and that's caught by Simmons. And he's tackled near the goal line. Corey Simmons, the son of two-time Pro Bowler Clyde Simmons.
And this is what we describe as make him wear it. It's a very, very tight window. He's able to get up and over the football, over the line. You love seeing that. And he just put it right where it had to be. That's an outstanding throw. And how about the tight end? Staying on his feet, being physical. You love seeing that if you're a quarterback, seeing a guy work for you in the red zone.
First and goal from the 1. Watson, the deep back. Channing Fugit, the fullback. Give is to Fugit, and he takes it in for the score.
There you go.
Fullback out of Eastern Kentucky.
And we were laughing earlier this week. Devin Mahina actually caught a touchdown pass in a 7-on-7 drill and did a half-hearted spike. If you're going to spike the ball, I want full Gronkowski style. A nice job right there by the late addition. Someone wasn't here. A late addition to the roster, making the most of his opportunity.
I mean, he's got some distance.
Yeah. Look at the hands by Bridge in the background, actually catching the ball. I love it.
Maybe that was choreographed. Be impressive if it was. Point after by Jeremiah Detmer is good. There is a flag on the play. Hang on.
Oh, flags on PATs, huh?
There's no foul for illegal formation. The extra point is good.
Old school football is what I love. I love the downhill running attack. I love the play action, and I love using the tight end. Such a valuable weapon for a young quarterback. A great job by Brandon Bridge on the touchdown drive.
A moment ago, Eastern Kentucky's Channing Fugit scored a touchdown, and he was just grinning about as wide as, well, from here to Culver City. We're in Carson. Fugit scoring that last touchdown. There's that smile again. He can't conceal it.
I mean, when you spend all day grinding out ISO blocks, getting into collision after collision so the running backs can pick up the yardage and score and get all the attention, you know, every once in a while you got to pay it off.
Last year's MVP in this game, J.C. Copeland. Fullback.
Absolutely.
Does Channing Fugit continue the trend?
You know who's rooting for that is our friend Dan Hawkins, former Boise State, Colorado coach. He's here. He was working on set with us Wednesday, Thursday. He's a former fullback. He likes it when you feed the beast. Nice return by Murphy. Team American with the football, 6:03 to go in the third. NFC AFC Championship tomorrow in the NFL. We get you set with postseason NFL countdown Sunday at noon Eastern on ESPN. Boomer and the gang will break it all down. Trent Richardson will not make the trip to Foxborough for Indianapolis. Your old teammate, Greg. Do the Colts have a chance against the Pats?
It's going to be tough sledding. They have a chance, but it's going to be tough sledding.
It's supposed to be freezing tomorrow. 11 degrees today, my wife reminded me, as we're out here in 75 and sunny Los Angeles.
Green Bay, Seattle, the NFC Championship. Mike Holmgren took both of those franchises to a Super Bowl. 1-1 with the Packers.
Said he went on the Dari Mel show today and thought he was going to be talking players with Kuiper, and all they wanted to talk about was the playoff game. Come on, Kuiper.
Legion of Boom. I mean, that defense that they put together is incredible.
I played against 3 of the 4. I played against Cam Chancellor when he was at Virginia Tech, played against Earl Thomas in the National Championship, played against Richard Sherman in the Senior Bowl. And you knew all 3 of those guys were going to be incredibly special.
2 fifth-round picks and a 6th-round pick.
See Chancellor jump the line twice last week? on the field goals.
He's unbelievable.
I mean,
the instincts are off the charts.
They got off to a slow start this season. Didn't look like the same team. They got hot at the right time. They'll knock you out, man.
You know, you said earlier, Jamil Showers, see a little Russell Wilson in there. The one thing that jumps out, Wilson never seems to get nicked. Always the ability to avoid a hit.
Yeah, I mean, the instincts is really, to me, is what separates him from a lot of other smaller quarterbacks with mobility, is just feeling the pressure, knowing where it is, being able to get out of pressure with your eyes down the field. It's all about just feeling the surroundings, and he has probably better instincts than any quarterback I've evaluated in the last decade.
Jimmy Jean from UAB. They're disbanding their football program. Breaks that pass up.
And right there, that was a mistake by Cole Stout. You had a slant to Kumaro on the outside. You had inside leverage of the defender. This is called 200 jet X slant spacing. So you have to recognize that, because the guys in the NFL, they'll jump that and they'll take it the other way. So you have to get off your first progression. That's sometimes something that you don't see enough of at the college level. Pure progression reads. Guys reading the entire field. You have to see leverage, you have to see formations, you have to see all those things. That's something Cole Stout, with his lineage, I know he'll be able to pick it up very quickly, but he'll have to improve on that as he goes to camp.
Lucky Whitehead tripped up at the 40-yard line by Chase Williams. Team National in control. Team American going over the game plan with Clemson quarterback Cole Stout. Team National, the 17-0 lead. Top two quarterbacks in this year's draft, Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota. Todd, how do you split the hairs between these two?
Well, Jameis Winston to me is the most pro-ready. He has both of them really have the size, the mobility. I think Mariota's a more explosive athlete, and what he was asked to do in college, he did it at an exceptionally high level. The problem for him is that Jameis Winston, what he was asked to do was run a pro-style system, anticipate throws from inside the pocket, throw to spots down the field before the receiver has broken, before the receiver has flashed into a soft spot in zone coverage, and he did that at a really high level. I think if you're just grading Jameis Winston on between the lines, forget the off-the-field stuff right now, but just between the lines, probably the highest grade I'll give a quarterback in my career doing it outside of Andrew Luck.
Wow.
I mean, that's how advanced he is. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see, because all the red flags are off the field with Winston. All the red flags with Mariota are on the field in terms of progressing from that offense at Oregon, where he was basically playing pitch and catch, but you see so many of the physical tools that you're looking for from that position.
And Jameis Winston is a special talent. Now, his motion's a little bit long, but he's so strong. You see so much Roethlisberger, and he's a little bit clumsy at times athletically, but really, you have to really study him and try to find flaws. I mean, there are very, very few. So when you look at, and I really appreciate watching Marcus Mariota play, I think he's an incredible, incredible talent, but the concerns and the comparisons to Robert Griffin III. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, will he be able to take the pounding? Will he be able to take the abuse that the quarterback usually takes at that level? The similar stature, similar size. So a lot of things that you have to look at with Mariota, but I think both are going to have exceptional careers in the NFL.
Flag on the play as Robinson hauled in what appears to be a first down. It is a first down if the play stands.
Nice tight motion right there from Brandon Bridge. He's working the field. He negotiates the pocket, delivers a nice, accurate football. That's exactly what you need. So he's shown me something in the game more so
Offense number
than what he did in
89.
practice.
10-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
Penalty on Corey Simmons, tight end out of Northwestern State. Let's go down to Quint Kesnick.
I know fans at home, and we were eager to watch DeAndre Carter of Sacramento State perform after what was an outstanding week of practice. He is injured right now, and I was kind of wondering why he disappeared. Little number 88, got an ice bag on his right knee. Looks like he is done for the day in street clothes on the sideline.
It's really too bad. You guys raved about what you saw. Put on the tape, you see a quick guy, over 1,300 yards receiving, 17 touchdowns. Really good field for the position.
Pressure from the edge, and Bridge is brought down. Sacked by Daniel Pettinato. Here's DeAndre Carter during the week.
I wasn't here yet. Kevin Whitle's texting me saying, we got a little slot receiver. he can make some plays.
He's
Kevin White
outstanding.
was loving Carter.
He's kind of like Andrew Hawkins.
Right.
for the Cleveland Browns. He's not quite as explosive as Andrew Hawkins, but he's a little bit bigger from a weight standpoint than Andrew Hawkins. He has great sudden ability to separate, and he can feel his way through zones. So all those things are so important in the NFL, especially for an undersized guy, but his production at the college level certainly jumps out at you as well.
Kalen Clay out of Utah, back deep. Clay, a little bit of the showman this season for the Utes. He's down at the 15-yard line. Let's go down to Kevin Weidel.
Yeah, guys, you look at Carter, I think he had the most natural feel for the position of all the receivers in terms of tempo, spatial awareness over the middle. And, you know, everyone I talked to, the scouts, just in between breaks during our broadcast of the practices, that was the first name that came up. I even got to receive the text from a scout that said, hey, you better not be talking about my receiver from Sacramento State. I got news for him. The secret's out.
Does that happen a lot?
Hopefully he's watching the broadcast.
Does that happen a lot?
It's unbelievable.
You write about prospects, Todd, all the time. Guys are hitting you up. Hey, man, stop writing about this guy.
You know, occasionally, yeah. Mostly you're kind of joking at that point because the game's changed. It's not like, you know, even 10, 15 years ago where there were true sleepers that scouts were trying to hide and didn't want to get the national attention. If you can play now, it's out there.
Nice run after catch by Nick Harwell. Actually, that was Anthony Johnson. Let's go down to Quint.
DeAndre Carter has made a strong impression this week. First of all, are you okay? I saw you walking around with ice, and are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm good, just a precaution.
What was this week like for you?
It was a great experience coming out here, just competing with the guys. I just came out here, wanted to show that, it don't matter where you come from, small school, big school. If you can play football, you can play football. I felt like I did a pretty good job out here this week, and I'm excited about what happened.
You played hard. You also played with a smile on your face.
Yes, sir, man. It's fun. Football is always fun. Come out here, you enjoy the relationships you build with the guys that you're playing with, and, you're playing football, and it's always fun.
What was the most significant thing you learned from a guy like Andre Reed?
Andre Reed, just the different details about route running and lining up in your splits, how much that can affect whether you get open or not. I've just been picking his brain all week, just trying to learn everything I can from him. He's a Hall of Famer, a great player.
Thanks, DeAndre.
No problem.
And Andre Reed, another guy who went to a small school, Kutztown, fourth-round draft pick of the Bills.
I talked to Andre before the game, and it's the first name that came out. He was saying, I've got a little slot receiver. Have you seen him? I know you just got in. He said, DeAndre Carter, you got to watch him. So he really was impressed with Carter and the way he played.
He loved his group.
Yeah,
he loved his group of guys.
I got more notes on these receivers.
I did too. He was fired up. He wanted to talk about them.
Chris Conley, you got to watch him vertically.
Yeah,
we're working on him in intermediate. We got Jerry Davis from Connecticut, a big guy. He's fun. He loves doing this, and it's great to see. Now a Hall of Famer, the wide receiver position, taking his time to come out here with no agenda, just to help these young men.
And they can't go hurry up, so that will be the last play of the third quarter. Team American with the football facing a second down when we come back. Big Monday on ESPN. Pittsburgh visiting Cameron Indoor to take on fourth-ranked Duke. Blue Devils with a big win today against Louisville. And then at 9, Oklahoma goes to Fog Allen Fieldhouse to battle 9th-ranked Kansas. That's the 9 o'clock game. Big Monday on ESPN, presented by Verizon. Well, player to watch in the trenches on this drive, number 51 with the Texas A&M helmet. That is Jarvis Harrison, 6'4", 330. Todd, he's a guy that your group rates pretty highly.
Yeah, he showed up here at 344, which is part of the concern with him. Is he going to work and do the little things he has to do? Gave him a third-round grade coming into the season. The guy's talented. He has all the physical tools. He was suspended for the opener, got back in good standing, winds up starting 2 games at left tackle because of the injuries that Texas A&M had, and played pretty well there. So he's got the ability to play, but does he want it enough, and will he do all the little things, especially when it comes to work ethic and getting into the weight room and his conditioning in order to stay in the league?
Offside. Defense number 98. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And so much about being a professional is what you just described. Will he have the diligence? Will he be committed enough in the offseason? Because you're only there 7 months a year, and 5 of those 7 months, that's when you are basically in season, full go all the time. So you have to really be committed from a nutrition standpoint, from a studying standpoint, from a workout standpoint, on your own. Be internally motivated.
Screen to Prince Tyson Gully, trying to slip away. He can't.
You saw the athleticism right there, though, Jarvis Harrison is an athletic guy. I mean, he was blocking a cornerback right there. He just moves fluidly, even at 344, which is entirely too heavy for him. He probably needs to be more in the 315, 320 range. But he moves well for a guy of his stature.
Nice tackle in space there, too, by Terrence Plummer out of Central Florida.
Yeah, it was. And Tyson Gully, it's good to see him back in the game after that big shot he took on the sideline. He's had a couple touches since then, so he's showing the toughness.
Marcus Murphy taken down by the ankles from behind by Zaire Anderson, who led Nebraska in tackles this season.
And they're really trying to feature Harrison. If you look at it, I mean, they're running to the left, screen to the left. They want to get behind him and let him road grade a little bit here.
Greg, with Cole Stout, a big question mark was, can he throw the ball consistently downfield? There haven't been a lot of throws downfield.
That's coming right here. This play calls 3-jet dancer X shallow cross. So what you're going to see guys going down the field, and you're going to see number 83 running on a shallow cross down the middle. I want to see Cole Stout stretch the field right here. He's going to have an opportunity in one of the voids.
Stout under pressure, and he's dropped. Marcus Rush from Michigan State got there first.
He plays his tail off. Marcus Rush I sat with him in interview room in Michigan State, East Lansing earlier this year, and he looks like just a regular dude on campus. Puts on shoulder pads and a helmet, and he will absolutely eat you up as an offensive lineman. Great hands, does a terrific job of rushing half a man. He's not going to let you get your hands in on his whole body. He understands leverage, and he's relentless. And it's amazing to me. It's frustrating because you see all these guys that can run 4.5s at 250 pounds at defensive end, but it's the ones that are transitioning from quickness to power and showing relentless effort that are the ones that are hanging around the league and productive. And Marcus Rush is one of those guys. You look at it, there's no chance he can play physically in the NFL. It won't shock me 7 years from now if Rush is having a productive career.
He's a guy who played in the shadow of Shalik Calhoun for most of the season, but Rush, a four-year starter.
Kicking team member, downfield, number 58. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down, timeout.
Official timeout, 12:22 to go in regulation. We'll talk to Vincent Jackson, productive wide receiver, when we come back.
A beautiful Saturday afternoon in Carson, California. We're at the StubHub Center for the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl, 4th annual event as Team National is up 17-0. Quinn Kesnick along with Vincent Jackson, the outstanding wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First of all, tell me about, for these young players, what it's like emotionally this time period as they transition from college to hopefully the NFL.
It's got to be exciting for them, you know what I mean? Especially be able to play in a venue like this on ESPN, you know what I mean, a bowl game. This is always going to, still meet some new players, bring some energy around. So exciting for them to get another chance and opportunity to showcase their skills. Some NFL scouts, I'm sure, in the building. But more importantly, man, the NFLPA does such a good job with these young guys as far as educating them about what you're going to prepare for off the field. And that's what I think really differentiates this bowl is the fact that, us as a union, we want to help these guys be as successful as we can on the field. It's exciting for them and starting their careers, but guess what? NFL careers are pretty short. And the NFL does an excellent job, really helping these young guys, cultivating them as men to prepare for, things that are going to happen after the game. So exciting. Careers are beginning here, but also, there's a lot you can learn as being a professional.
You are out of northern Colorado, a small school. What's it like for the small school guys in this ballgame?
Oh man, this is very cool. I was fortunate enough, going to a 1AA school to play in the Senior Bowl, but it was tough for me to get into that one. And I know these guys being able to showcase their talents on national TV is exciting. They're flying around, they're playing hard, and anytime you get to strap up, you're playing against some guys in schools you never played before. You got different levels. You got D2 guys, D1AA guys, big D1 school guys. That's exciting. It's energy. You get competitive at practices. You want to showcase your skills to these great coaches. You got Mike Martz, Mike Holmgren on the other sideline. That's exciting. To be able to play for coaches like that, very cool.
Your teammate Mike Evans off to a great start as well for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thank you.
Yes, he is.
Evans part of what has been just a tremendous rookie wide receiver class.
It's been unbelievable. Watching Evans is a big-time playmaker. Sammy Watkins had some flashes. Both the LSU wide receivers had success. LaRon Landry down in Miami. Obviously, Odell Beckham Jr. known for the catch, but he's had a terrific year. Kelvin Benjamin, late first round from Carolina Panthers. I know our producer Sco wants us to mention him. Loves those Panthers. Jordan Matthews.
Vandy.
Tremendous production in college. I wondered if he was going to transition immediately, and he paid it off. I mean, I said last year before the draft, I thought it was the best receiver group that I had ever been around scouting. But the impressive part was watching as rookies how hard it is to transition as a receiver to the NFL, and so many of the top guys became big-time playmakers.
And this year's a good crop as well.
Really is.
I mean, you think about Mari Cooper, Devontae Parker,
Kevin White, West Virginia.
Kind of
came out of nowhere.
I mean, Jalen Strong, who a lot of people don't know enough about. Jalen Strong out of Arizona State.
He reminds me a little bit of Vincent Jackson.
That's a great point. He's really a talented player.
Physical receiver,
right,
too.
Big, uses his body well, can box out.
Sammy Coates. I mean, it's a deep group and a very talented group. So if you're a team in the NFL and you need a wide receiver, if you didn't get one in these last two drafts, you're making a mistake.
Todd, is there something going on in the college game where these receivers are more ready, or was it just that was a special group last year and there's some special guys this year?
I think a good portion of it was just the talent level. But I also think we're seeing more teams throwing the football in college and the pros. But more, in the college game, you're working in the spread, 3-4 receivers. You're seeing a lot more opportunities. And also a lot of, just talking to receivers, they feel like a lot of the language is the same or similar, at least when you get to the NFL for certain systems. So I think that's been a big part for some of these receivers getting in the league, and it's not completely different. But you still have the challenge of learning the new offense, getting in a rhythm with your quarterback, and most importantly to me, getting off the press. Can you get off of press coverage versus a veteran corner that does a great job with press technique? Because you don't see a lot of that in the college game.
Andrew Hendricks, former Notre Dame quarterback who ended his career at Miami of Ohio, in the game, and he hands it off to Jawan Edwards from Ball State.
When you look at these guys, and we kind of talk about how ready college receivers are versus going into the NFL. You mentioned it, all the coaching now too. Obviously there's a heavy emphasis of offensive head coaches. I mean, there are guys that love the spread like you talked about, getting guys opportunities, getting them catches, but there's also coaches like Lane Kiffin that do an incredible job featuring wide receivers, which is something you don't always see at the college level, but you're seeing more and more of it. Moving guys around, putting them in different formations, having guys play both in the slot and on the outside. The more you can do as a player, the better you are from a draft standpoint and more prepared you'd be.
Pocket collapses. Hendricks on the run, throws downfield, incomplete. Intended for Cameron Clear, the tight end from Texas A&M.
It's a nice job to elude the pressure and to get outside, find an open receiver. Wasn't the best throw. You also like to see Clear maybe work back to him a little bit. But it's tough, man. I mean, you have 3 days of practice. You're installing a whole new offense, and to expect receiver and quarterback, or in this case quarterback and tight end, to be on the same page in the scramble rules is probably asking too much.
Patrick Carney will punt to Marcus Murphy from Missouri.
Marcus Murphy is a dynamic return guy who has single-handedly took over the game on a few different occasions. So pretty smart to keep it away from him, try to punt it directionally outside the numbers. That guy could change the game.
3 returns for touchdowns this past year.
He didn't get a chance there. Team American will get a chance on offense. 8:39 to go in the fourth. Gil Haskell, the offensive coordinator for Team American, moments ago imparting some wisdom onto quarterback Cole Stout.
You looked at him, but it's got to come quicker. Yeah. Remember we
kept it a little deep. And that's why
I know he's deep. He's got to be flatter. He's got to be flat downfield, don't we? I mean, everything we're throwing is short underneath, so we've got to go down the field.
Same for a double post.
Well, there you saw Gil Haskell telling his quarterback, we've got to throw the ball downfield. That's what scouts want to see from Cole Stout, too.
It is, and we've seen him take checkdowns all weekend, being very careful. There's nothing wrong with that, but this is a showcase game. Show the scouts what you're capable of. No one's going to fault anyone for throwing an interception in this game, frankly. And I wish I would have known that when I was playing in the Senior Bowl. I would have been throwing the ball down the field as much. Yeah, you really did. I'm telling you. I wish you would have grabbed me before the game and say, throw the ball downfield, McElroy. But that's a huge aspect here. Show them what they might have question marks about. For me, it was throwing the ball outside the numbers. I wanted to make sure I got as much of that as possible on tape. So that's something he needs to definitely listen to and try to do a little bit better job moving forward.
There was a penalty on the punt before we went to break. They announced the penalty during the commercials, so they re-kick. And Team American will try to get on the board with 8:27 to go here in the fourth. They'll start at the 26-yard line. And let's see who comes out to play quarterback. It won't be Cole Stout. Instead, it'll be Jerry Lovelock out of Prairie View A&M. He got the first series for Team American.
Holmgren's got to be just losing his mind right now.
He is fired up.
Pitched a shutout.
He is fired up.
8:27 left.
And you said it when we were away during the commercial break. You said, look, these coaches, they're all laid back. They're very calm, cool, and collected. But as soon as that ball gets kicked off and that clock starts running down a little bit, the competitive juices start flowing, and you can certainly see
happen,
Mike
right?
Holmgren getting fired up.
You're gonna get blamed for it. He's gonna call you out for having that.
You know what? That's probably right. I probably will get blamed for it now that I have my handy-dandy play call sheet right here.
Anthony Johnson out of West Texas A&M making the catch.
And that's a nice rush right there on the inside. Good job staying put, having guys at your feet, being unaffected.
Nice job by Johnson, too. Falls down, but he keeps his balance there with his hand. Is able to get back up and make the play. Nice job with his concentration.
Lovelock to the air again. Downfield, and he overshot his tight end, Brian Vogler out of Alabama. Vogler had a nice couple of days of practice.
Really, really good week of practice for Brian Vogler. A late addition to the roster once again, but he made his presence known. And this is a guy at Alabama, didn't get a lot of the opportunities to get out
O.J. Howard's there.
And O.J. Howard's going to be the featured pass-catching tight end. But Brian Vogler, I think, has probably improved his draft stock as much as anyone, because he showed things, like we talked about with Cole Stout, that we didn't know he could do beforehand. Very soft hands, a much smoother route runner than we were expecting, and also the ability to make plays after catch.
Nice play there by Deontay Saunders. This was Vogler in practice this week.
And you see a little bit quicker than I expected, to be honest, with getting in and out of breaks. Technically sound, understands getting wide. He's going to run that defender off and then work back inside. And then catching the ball in traffic is something that he's shown. Only 6 catches this past year. Talk about his situation as a backup to O.J. Howard. He's a true Y tight end. And by Y, I mean he works almost primarily in line. Not as many of those guys coming out in the draft anymore. A lot of those H-back types, the F tight end that you move around. And so it almost works to his advantage that he has experience and is a very effective blocker in line.
Lovelock under pressure, gets rid of it, finds his receiver. And that's Kalen Clay out of Utah, tackled at the 39-yard line. And it'll bring up 4th and 5.
Marcus Rush there, number 91. He kind of had a free lane to the quarterback and looked like he was surprised that he was going to get there. He tried to break down and make sure he didn't give up the outside contain, as you would expect from him. One of the more disciplined players that you'll see.
The right tackle, Sean Donnelly, gets taken inside, completely unblocked on the end of the line of scrimmage. That stuff happens in the preseason when you're a 3rd-string, 4th-string quarterback in the NFL. A good job right there by Lovelock reacting, not making a bad play worse, finding a guy underneath,
and the quick pump
getting
to
something
get
out of
Rush
nothing.
off of his feet just very quickly.
Another punt by Mike Sadler. He's been busy today. Fair catch signal by Whitehead. And Lucky Whitehead makes it at the 23. The Pro Bowl is coming to ESPN. Hall of Famers and team captains Chris Carter and Michael Irvin have the ability to draft players regardless of their conference. The game will be played at the site of the Super Bowl 2015 Pro Bowl presented by McDonald's, Sunday, January 25th at 8 Eastern, on ESPN. Some notable undrafted NFL Pro Bowlers: Warren Moon, an outstanding quarterback out of Washington. What a career John Randall had with the Vikings for a long time. Priest Holmes is one of the assistant coaches in this game for Team National.
And Tony Romo, you saw there. Garoppolo coming from that same program, Eastern Illinois.
It's fitting that Tony Romo's on there because Hendrick's release kind of reminds me of Tony Romo a little bit. A little bit more three-quarter. Ball gets out very quick, though, and a nice throw to Conley, a guy who's been a little quiet but had a big week.
Conley looked almost surprised that that ball found him. It was thrown through some traffic.
I don't know, is that his first, maybe his second target of the game, first catch of the game for Conley? And he's one of those guys, he can get vertical. He's a big-time playmaker and really had that production throughout his career, but I think struggles a little bit more in the intermediate game, working on getting better, getting in and out of his breaks. That's the big thing for Conley, but he averaged 18.3 yards per catch in 36 catches, 8 of those for touchdowns.
I had their bowl game against Louisville. Mark Richt raved about his character. Everyone knows Conley off the field. He's got the whole Phil Major thing going on where he's making these Star Wars fan films, but great in the classroom, great in the community. And Mark Richt just said, this is kind of the kid you want on a football team, model citizen.
It's a heck of a resume there.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And
makes me feel like a horrible human being.
Well-spoken young man. Really, really impressive just talking to him. I think one of the biggest question marks, aside from getting out of the break, is how much better can he get? You know, he's been really well coached. He's very polished at this point. Does he have the upside that maybe some of the other guys that might go later in the game, later in the
How
round?
about Lafayette's Ross Sherman taking it to the house? That's a 51-yard touchdown for Team National, unless he stepped out of bounds.
You got a flag.
On the field. First thing in my notes, though, top end speed, really good. Showed it there. I mean, the second gear that he showed when he got to the outside.
This might be coming back. There's a flag back at the 35.
Holding. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Devin Mahina, the tight end, called for holding.
You know, and some scouts I talked to really like his ball skills and actually think he might work out better as a slot receiver. But look at this burst that you see down the sideline. Feel badly there. When you look at the defense trying to track him down, just no chance.
And he's a guy, too, that there's been some talk amongst the scouts that he could get a look at a slot receiver as well.
Yeah, that's exactly
He's got sudden quickness. He's a little bit bigger than you'd realize, and he can run, man. I mean, anytime you have speed, you have a chance. So that's a guy that you'll see in a camp, whether it's a running back or slot receiver, but he's going to get an opportunity.
His team, Lafayette, played Lehigh in a game at Yankee Stadium this year, and on the big stage, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns.
That's a day.
Yeah.
That's not a Melvin Gordon day, but that's
a Derek Jeter day.
And the thing with him is that he's not a great inside runner. And so I think at that level, he's probably able to do what he just did there.
Sure.
Very often get around the edge, has the burst to turn the corner, and then just run away from guys. So it's going to be one of two things. Either he's going to become more patient and have better vision as an inside runner, which you don't often develop at this stage, or you're going to move him out to the slot, you're going to manufacture touches, and you're going to get him in space. And I think that's the best opportunity for him. And in the kick return game, just looking at him, I mean, with that build and with that explosiveness, you're looking for a guy that if there's a crease, he can take it the distance. And you saw, I mean, he ran away from Dargan there, the safety from Oregon, Eric Dargan, who
That's his question mark.
That's why I said feel badly. He lacks elite top-end speed, but he also played in a national championship game on Monday night. So it's a tough assignment this week for those Oregon DBs.
Hendricks again to throw. Going downfield, incomplete. He wanted Whitehead. Hey, speaking of speed, Quint Kesnick with the guy who will tell you he's the fastest player in the building.
Darrell Green, Hall of Famer, 20-year pro career. During the week, your focus was on technique and work ethic. What has it been today on game day?
Well, my guys, I've really been proud of them. You know, they've really competed well. They've stayed conscious to what we're trying to get done, and I feel like they've done what I've asked them to do. Overall, as a defense, you know, we haven't really collectively done that, but you know, I'm sick of losing. But my guys on the corner, I'm not patting myself because it's their job. They've done it, but I think my guys have done exactly what we talked about. You know, they've competed well, and done what they, took what the offense brought to them. So, I mean,
Darrell, what keeps you coming back to this event? It's your third time here.
the desire to win. No, actually, I just love these guys and want to see them on Sundays.
What's the biggest lesson that you impart?
Well, the biggest lesson I impart is about being a man, being responsible as a human being and keeping everything in balance. Life, daddy, husband, and football, my job. So, try to feel, talk balance as a human being. They say a great player, but I hope I was a greater dad and husband. So try to talk about balance.
Thank you. You've been a great coach this week, Darryl.
Appreciate it, baby. All right.
We had a mic on Darryl Green during the practices on Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm not sure there was a more entertaining soundbite.
4.43 at 50 years old. Think about that.
I'd love to run a 5.53 at 50.
You can put me on a motorcycle, I couldn't go 4.43 in 40 yards.
He says he's never lost a race, and I believe him. The best of Darryl Green, Wired.
I could beat y'all too. Yeah, everybody around here, I know I can get y'all.
Beat me, you beat everybody out.
Who?
No, he ain't beating me.
Who? The ref? Oh, let me tell you what I am. I am 5'8" and,
What?
excuse me, 3/4.
I don't believe that. On the 5.
You're not even in the discussion,
From the goal
man.
line to the 5-yard line. With that push-ups.
If you let me carry this camera on my shoulder and race you with that. When I came in the league, I was 5'4", and I kept growing.
You take into account those late growth spurts in your scouting report?
You never know. You never know.
He's entertaining. He's played 20 years in the NFL, which is it's an absurd number. You just don't hear that, especially at the position that he did it at.
And he played at just an unbelievably high level. All those cornerbacks, I mean, he's still talking. They love to talk, right? You can run 4.2 or whatever he runs, you can talk, and this guy's going to be able to talk as well. See the burst around the edge.
It was Marcus Murphy. Greg, you alluded to his great speed on returns.
He has home run hitting capability, and that's about as good a compliment as you can provide to a running back, return guy, whatever it may be. When he gets the edge, he's gone.
Yeah, he's
more often than not.
He's not a great inside runner or every down back. He was second on the team in Missouri in rushing, but he had 28 catches this past year. He's been effective throughout his career catching the ball, and he's a big-time threat in the return game. As I mentioned before, 3 returns for touchdowns this past year. Listen, you don't have to do everything at the running back position. Just be really good in one area, and that's what you see with him.
If you need to justify him as a prospect, just turn on the
Lovelock has
floor
it
again.
knocked out. It's picked up by Team National. Pressure coming from that blind side, and well, Lovelock's holding the football. It looked like Team National came away with it, and they did. That's what referee Kevin Marr says. Lovelock's like, hey, I got the ball, hang on.
And 96, you can see the right end is going to be coming right around Micah Hatchie. Micah Hatchie's had kind of a tough day, giving up a few sacks. It's a tough order, though. You give so many defensive linemen that are rotating into the game. They all have fresh legs, and they're all playing with unbelievable motors right now. So a tough draw, but a great job by Daheem Watkins from UAB, coming around the edge, attacking the quarterback's throwing arm, and forcing the big turnover that could pretty much ice this game.
There's no real scouting report either. I mean, you're working against your defensive linemen during practice all week, and all of a sudden you're going up against strangers that you don't know whether they're power rushers, bull rush, or they outside work back in. As a player during the season, an offensive tackle, you get to watch the tape of the opponent. You know tendencies. You understand what they're trying to do and the game plan they have as pass rushers. You just don't get that chance here.
Chuka Ndule from Oklahoma recovered the fumble.
I'm good, man.
Terrell Watson, the last carry for Team National, a gain of 6. Watson from Azusa Pacific, another small school guy, 2,000+ yards for his team this past season. Jamil Showers in the quarterback, gives it right back to Watson. We got a yard, 3rd and 3.
These quarterbacks have shown improvement throughout the week. Jameel Showers, I think today has been probably the best of the group, just in my opinion. I was surprised that Grant Hedrick from Boise State didn't get a chance to play in this game, and it hasn't. He's not at the East-West Shrine. He's not going to the Senior Bowl. It's one of those situations where they struggled early in the season, and he had some struggles. He had some 5-turnover game, but he bounced back, and I thought the final 5 or 6 games of the year, he became one of the most technically sound, accurate passers in college football. So he's not going to be at this All-Star game, but maybe he'll get a chance at another one in workouts and all the different things that go on during the pre-draft process. But he's got a chance to make a roster at the next level.
Incomplete intended for Whitehead. Greg, you spoke about this during our coverage of the practices. The challenge for a quarterback like the ones you see in this game, if they get onto an NFL roster, the chance to have longevity, the chance to stick, because you said you just don't get the reps that you need to really develop.
Unless you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you do not get reps. It just doesn't happen. You think about it over the course of the regular season, the starter takes all the offensive reps.
So how do you get better?
You just have to work on your own. And the problem right now with the CBA being the way it is, it's incredibly difficult for young players to be able to improve because they do so many different things that limit how much time you can put in at the facility, limit how much time you can really improve and get better. You have to be internally motivated, and we've talked about it. That's the concern with Jarvis Harrison, the Texas A&M offensive lineman. That's a concern for a lot of these guys, but quarterback in particular, because you need so many reps. So what I would encourage every one of these young men to do, get in the playbook as well as you possibly can. Know the protections inside and out. You have to know not only your role, but everyone else's role, so you can get everyone lined up over the course of the preseason games and things like that. But don't expect to be practicing your offense very often. You better know it, and every single time the starter takes a rep, you better be watching, because that rep is your rep, and you're just getting it from a mental standpoint, not a physical one.
I also think it's frustrating that there's no developmental leagues, really. You know, we've tried different leagues, and it just hasn't worked.
Why?
Well, TV, money, you know, interest in games, and you know, everyone's watching the National Football League, they're watching college football, but a league all of a sudden pops up. Do you really have a fan base? I think that's the biggest issue. Can a developmental league last? And we've seen some different ones, and it just doesn't seem to work. And do you have coaches there that can teach the position? It's the most important position in the most important sport in this country. But we don't have many people that actually can teach it properly. And in college, you do have such limited time, as you know, to coach. You've got to work on installing a game plan. You got to work on all the, you know, getting ready for this week's game. I don't see quarterbacks getting the type of development that they really need to get in order to succeed at the next level.
What's been the impact of spread offenses at the collegiate level on the development of pro quarterbacks?
I think we're seeing it. Look at the lack of depth in this year's quarterback class, but it doesn't mean those guys can't transition. It also, you know, when you look at it, there are enough programs that still run pro-style offense and enough pro-style within their offense that you can make the transition. But so many times we see, and we've talked about in this game, not under center, not huddling up, fast pace, so the center is making the protection calls. You're not changing things at the line. You're not going through traditional progression reads. You don't have the verbiage, if you will, in the playbook, because a lot of teams are going so fast that they want to, you know, play one is play one, and that's what they know. So the challenges are greater for a quarterback today than they've ever been before, transitioning to the National Football League level, especially if you're playing in a spread, up-tempo type system.
There's no question. It's just, like you said, tempo too. And the defenses you see when you are a tempo offense are very vanilla, very basic. So when you get to the NFL and you see blitzes coming from all over the place, it almost seems faster just as a result of where guys are coming from. People flying around, things like that. And like we said, the lack of reps and the fact that in the NFL now, there's no more two-a-days, so you don't get an extra practice when the veterans would probably be taking the afternoon off. You don't get those reps. You don't have the opportunities in the OTA periods to get reps because they're so limited with time. And like you said in college, the time, there's just not enough to be able to dedicate it to your craft. There is no more difficult position in the world, in all of sports, in my opinion, than quarterback. So it's incredibly difficult. I'm glad to see guys like this, though, be able to come out and showcase what they're capable of. Games like this are so important for young men to be able to showcase their skills.
2-minute warning. Team National up 17-zip.
on shallow crosses, zebra shallow cross, U shallow cross, 7. Why do I ask you to go 7? Because the shallow cross, it takes that long for him to get over there. If you go 5, he's here when you're looking. I don't want you throwing the ball. I want you to throw it over there. You understand?
Executed to perfection. 7-step drop. An outstanding job by the quarterback, taking the coaching. And that's what's so important. You get the mental reps. You don't see them dropping or doing anything physical right there. Mike Holmgren's just explaining the concept. It's up to you to apply it as a player. So a great job of transitioning right there from coaching, using it, hearing it, talking about it, and then executing it when you do get your opportunity. Because you might not run that play one time. Jerry Lovelock might not have run that play a single time this week. But when it's called on Saturday, you better be ready to go.
And he's coached a few quarterbacks, Mike Holmgren.
I think he knows what he's talking about. There's no doubt about it. He has a laundry list as long as anyone of outstanding passers.
That's Vogler, the tight end from Alabama, getting close to midfield. Joe Montana, Steve Young, Brett Favre, Matt Hasselbeck, among those who played for Mike Holmgren.
Vogler's going to be playing a long time in this league if he continues to showcase what he's done this week.
You don't see many guys that can block, but also do enough positive things as a route runner and can catch in traffic.
Cato slides down at the 42.
This is, people always talk about what the challenge is being a smaller quarterback. There you see it. You're behind 6'4", 6'5" offensive linemen. They only get bigger in the NFL. So what you have to do, the great ones, the Drew Breeses, the Russell Wilsons, you've got to find passing windows with your feet, and you've got to be great at it. You really do. And you've got to feel pressure, know where you can move within the pocket. And it's something he's got to work on. And all the shorter quarterbacks, you're 6'1", even 6'2" in some cases.
No question.
And under, you've got to be great in that aspect of the game.
And I'm 6'2", 6'0", at the combine, and I can remember vividly Rapati Pachuatua, a 6'8" defensive tackle with his arms stretched up, and I'm trying to see a guy running across the middle of the field. It's so hard to do it because it doesn't come natural. Some guys have that God-given ability to be able to negotiate and change their arm angle, but it's something that you really have to get a lot of repetitions, and like we've talked about all along, you don't get a ton of repetitions when you're a backup player. So it's really hard. It's good to see Cato getting up and over the top right there and recognizing that his stature could hold him back, but it wouldn't on that particular play.
Cato's going to take a shot downfield, incomplete. Intended for Anthony Johnson out of West Texas A&M.
Got the ball out quickly. You see the timing. There's been an emphasis with him this week of getting the ball out, understanding where he is in the pocket, and trying to show these scouts that are watching this game that he can operate. We all know what he can do when he gets outside the pocket and doing that, but you see right away recognizes it. Throwing motion could use a little work, a little more drive off the back foot and following through. And then that really, to me, is why you can basically watch the quarterback throw, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to know whether it was an accurate pass or not. And there you saw it just hung up there a little bit. Had he just driven off his back foot a little bit more, it would have been an effective throw, and that's what he's got to learn. Now that he's getting the ball out quicker, can he tie those mechanics together?
He just has to get stronger, too. I mean, you have to get stronger. You look at the guys in the NFL. Look at the guys that are playing tomorrow in the championship games. Russell Wilson, incredibly strong for a guy of his size. Andrew Luck, who's a machine. Tom Brady, who's lower half. For those of you who've never seen him in person, he is a massive human being.
Massive.
So, I mean, guys are just bigger, guys are stronger at the next level, and he'll be able to work over the next 3-4 months when he does go wherever it is he's going to train for the combine, train for the pro day. Getting stronger is going to be a key point of emphasis for Rakeem Cato.
Zebra, 2-jet, all go. Zebra, double wing right.
Who over the ball?
The running back's over the ball, okay? It's all go. 4 verticals, all 4 verticals.
What number is it?
It's 39 or 38 or 39, okay?
All right, Greg, 4 verticals, so 4th and 5. Team American's going to take a shot here.
Why not? Why not? You want to see Rakeem Cato drive out from under center, take a good 5-step drop, hitch, and throw the ball 42 yards down the field, 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, or he could work the inside seams. We'll see which one he takes.
Cato's going to go downfield. And it's incomplete. You got to get 2 feet in this game, and Jake Kumaro could not stay in bounds.
Joey Bosa's cousin, right?
Yeah, played at Wisconsin Whitewater.
Did a nice job kind of timing it up, going up for it right there. Just couldn't get that second
That's a catch in
foot
college.
in.
It's a catch in college.
It is. And that's an adjustment these receivers are having to make.
And that's a big adjustment, even in walkthroughs. I can remember vividly Santonio Holmes. Every time he caught the ball on the boundary, he'd literally drag his feet for 4 steps. Every time. It didn't even matter where it was or when it was, just training his body, training his mind, muscle memory to be able to get those 2 feet down. Jake Kumaro and all these receivers, that's going to be an adjustment that they're going to have to think long and hard about, and how they're going to go about their practice habits to make sure they don't make mistakes like that, only getting 1 foot down.
Kumaro played at a Division III school, powerhouse nonetheless. Wisconsin Whitewater won the championship this year. 6'5", 195. His dad was a terrific linebacker at Ohio State, Eric Kumaro.
He's got the bloodlines. He's got the bloodlines. And he's a big guy. You know, I want to see him be a little bit more aggressive. This week, he made some plays, sure, but I think he needs to be really aggressive, and he'll have a chance to do so in an OTA or a fall camp, whenever it may be.
We've seen some guys step up today. I was impressed with Jameel Showers, UTEP quarterback, what he was able to do, especially early on. No nerves. It didn't seem like he had any nerves. Zaire Anderson, linebacker from Nebraska, had a very productive day, made a lot of tackles. There are always guys, you go back and watch the tape too. Devin Mahina, I thought, did a nice job at the tight end position from BYU as well.
Mike Martz just got a Gatorade shower after his Team National pitched a shutout over Team American in the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. And Coach Martz with Quint.
Coach Martz is seeking out Coach Holmgren here for a handshake.
We had a lot of fun. That's good. It was good. Take care, Santa Julian. I will do. Send the cat
Coach Martz, they recently got you with the Gatorade, I see. What was this experience like for you and your staff?
We had so much fun. We had a special group of guys, and of course we had a great staff here. They kept it fun all week, and I was pleased with the enthusiasm that they played this game with. They had a great time.
What stood out in terms of these young players and these young men?
Well, I think their intensity and their attention to detail. We asked them to stay on top of things, and that for the most part, they really did that throughout the game.
Were there any individuals in your eyes who deserve special recognition?
Well, our free safety is a pretty good player, number 25, and I think all 3 quarterbacks did a good job. They all 33. The runners did a good. I mean, they all did a good job. They really did. The pass protection in a game like this is always going to be a little iffy, you know, for both teams. But I think by and large, I was really pleased with their effort and their attention.
What will your final words to the group be?
Isn't it great to win? I don't care what it is. You play marbles or whatever. You know, I know but it's just always great to win. It's just fun. We had a great time.
Congratulations, Coach. Thank you.
The competitive spirit for these coaches keeps shining through in a game that really doesn't matter much in terms of, record-wise for a Mike Holmgren or a Mike Martz, but they want to win this, and you saw that in Martz's interview with Quint Keston. Team National wins at 17-0. Still waiting to find out who the MVP of the game is. Anish Shroff, Todd McShay, Greg McElroy. Todd, what was your big takeaway from this weekend?
Well, I think there were some pass catchers that did a nice job throughout the week and even in today. I think Mahina, as I mentioned, the BYU tight end did a nice job. Vogler did a nice job, the Alabama tight end. I think the tight ends really played better than I expected them to. And on the defensive side, guys like Marcus Rush from Michigan State, the try-hard guys, the guys that seem to overachieve everywhere they go, they really, I thought, stepped up today, and Rush was one of the big playmakers on that defensive side.
And it was a fun week. I enjoyed being here with you. I love seeing these teams grow and players get better, become more confident, become more comfortable in the offenses and defense that they were running over the course of the week. But the biggest thing to me, no injuries. I mean, no injuries that are going to really be able to linger. Guys might have been a little banged up. I left the Senior Bowl with a cast on my hands, so that's the biggest takeaway for me. Now these guys can prepare as hard as anyone over the next 3 months to get ready to be drafted potentially and be a member of an NFL team.
You said something when we first came on the air Wednesday, the nerves and the insecurity that a player can feel, pressure on these kids for a weekend like this in a game that you may not think is that big a deal, but it is for them. They're playing for their future. Let's go back down to Q.
Terrell Watson, Azusa Pacific. What was your mindset, but basically, what were your expectations today walking out of that tunnel before this game?
Just been doing everything I've been doing all season. I'm just trusting the O-linemen. They're moving people down the field, moving the defense down, and they just keep running the ball down here and do what I know I do best, and just take care of every opportunity I have.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Watson, the MVP from Azusa Pacific. There's one for the small school guys.
I'm telling you, I love this guy. What I love most about him, though, yes, his athletic ability jumps out, but if he doesn't make it in the NFL, he wants to be a member of the SWAT team. That's the type of guy you want in your huddle. An unselfish guy that's unafraid.
Very literally a foxhole guy. Thank you for watching. Team National takes it 17-0.